including at least 177 children. A lot more civilians have been killed in this fight than combatants by all accounts, though no reliable figures exist on how many combatants were slain on either side. Roughly a third of rebel-held eastern Ghouta has fallen over that period, leading civilians to flee deeper into the area. Russia is suggesting they flee the other way, however, offering everyone, including rebels, safe passage out of Ghouta. Syria and their allies are eager to get the rebels out of eastern Ghouta because it's the last substantial rebel-held territory this close to the capital city. Eastern Ghouta has been used for artillery strikes against Damascus and at times outright infiltration into the capital. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports in the first weeks after President Donald Trump's latest travel ban was implemented on December 8th, around 100 waivers were granted to thousands of applicants for U.S. visas from 8 countries subject to its restrictions, according to State Department data provided to Reuters. Between December 8th and January 8th, more than 8,400 people applied for U.S. visas from Chad, Iran, Libya, North Korea, Syria, Somalia, Yemen, and Venezuela, the countries listed on the ban. Of those, 128 applicants qualified for visas because they fell into categories exempted from the ban, according to a letter from the State Department sent last month to U.S. Senator Chris Van Hollen. Exemptions to the ban are made for lawful permanent residents of the United States and certain other categories of applicants. The ban contains the provision that those who do not qualify for exemptions can be considered for waivers in special circumstances, such as a need for urgent medical care or to accommodate adoptions. Waivers can also be granted to those previously granted visas who want to return to employment or study in the United States. Significant business obligations or close U.S. family ties can also be taken into consideration for a waiver. As of February 15th, only 2 of the initial month's applicants had been approved for the waivers, according to the letter, which was seen by Reuters. Since then, more than 100 additional waivers have been granted, according to the State Department on Tuesday. It was not clear how many of those additional waivers went to applicants from the initial month. The White House did not immediately respond to a request for comment about the issue. A State Department official said the policy is being implemented as called for in the president's proclamation. Van Hollen, a Democrat, along with Republican Senator Jeff Flake, requested the information about visas from the State Department in late January, saying in a letter to the agency and the Department of Homeland Security that they had received reports of the near-uniform denial of waivers for visas. Van Hollen said in a statement to Reuters, the Trump administration claims that the waiver system can be used by people who pose no threat to the country, but these facts show that system is a farce designed to hide the president's true purpose. 6 of the 8 countries included in the ban are majority Muslim. Courts have struck down the first 2 versions of the Republican president's travel ban, and the current one is narrower in scope than its predecessors. The Supreme Court will consider its legality this spring, and a decision is expected by June. Many visa applicants from the 8 countries were denied even before the travel ban, and since it took effect, more than 1,700 of the 8,400 visa applicants were denied for reasons other than the travel ban, according to the State Department's data. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap and Amazon, at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Publicists everywhere agreed this week that the nation's celebrities are in dire need of more fame, stressing that all 6 billion of the world's populace should know every U.S. celebrity by name and face by now. Publicists are calling for an emergency influx of buzz, heat, press, and word of mouth to be administered to the nation's celebrities immediately in order to prevent crucial fame levels from becoming dangerously low. Novelist Edward Milligan told reporters this week that in his new book, By the Water's Edge, he has fleshed out in meticulous detail his own huge and stunningly shitty world. Using in-depth research and the power of his own imagination, Milligan was able to conjure out of thin air every hackneyed character, trite street name, and horseshit backstory in the fictional town of Connors Cove. The complete hack proudly said he has created a universe that readers will feel they can actually reach out and touch. Sources say the prolific writer has not yet been punched repeatedly in the face. In other news, McDonald's opens a new senior citizen play place.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us on the radio here. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And you can Skype into the show at Skype username LRN.FM. You can bring up whatever happens to be on your mind. Joining you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
And Darryl.
And also, we've got Discord. You can call us on the Discord on-air call-in line, which is there and available to you. And when you're there, we'll hopefully notice you relatively quickly and put you on the air. And again, you can talk about whatever you want. We're going to open up the show tonight with some big-sounding news, actually, out of North Korea, which has been... They've been doing some saber rattling. I mean, let's be honest. The North Korean government certainly likes to launch off missiles and act big and tough. So does the U.S. government. And
yes.
They like to act big and tough. And so it's been sort of a penis measuring contest between the two heads of state there, Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump.
Right, and you remember it was just a few weeks ago when Donald Trump posted something, or probably been a month or so, but Trump posted something on the Twitter about, you know...
My button's bigger than yours.
My button's bigger than yours, and it actually works.
It was funny, but these are serious matters, right? I mean, we're talking about launching a nuclear holocaust here.
Yeah,
and
I can kill millions of people with a push of a button. You can't. Ha ha.
And
look at my tiny hands.
So, North Korea's boss man Kim Jong-un, according to the New York Times, has told South Korean envoys he's willing to negotiate with the United States on abandoning his country's nuclear weapons. Officials from the South said Tuesday. Mr. Kim also said he would suspend all nuclear and missile tests while those talks were underway, which is a nice, pleasant surprise to hear, given the rhetoric coming from both sides over the last year or so, or the last much longer than a year. I mean, it's certainly has sort of spun up as a current issue within the Trump administration, but Kim Jong-un has always been, and his father and grandfather before him, certainly, no friend of United States government. Not that anyone should be a friend of the United States government. They're an evil bunch of people, too.
The U.S. government also does things like, have war games in South Korea very close to the DMZ, and, all kinds of things that
technically
could be
still
seen
going on.
But if, say, Russia were having war games on the Canadian border very close to the U.S. government would say that's an act of aggression.
Sure would.
They're trying to attack us.
Yeah.
But yet, when the U.S. government does that to another country, I don't know why they're so hostile.
Absolutely. There's so much hypocrisy. I mean, it's just like how the U.S. government supports secession in other countries in a lot of cases, but not for their own country.
Right.
So Trump reacted with guarded optimism to the news, which potentially represented a major diffusing of one of the world's tensest confrontations during the envoy's two-day visit to Pyongyang, which is the North Korean capital, which ended on Tuesday. The two Koreas also agreed to hold a summit meeting between Mr. Kim and President Moon Jae-in of South Korea on the country's border in late April, according to Mr. Moon's office. The, quote, North Korean side clearly stated its willingness to denuclearize. The statement said it made it clear that it would have no reason to keep nuclear weapons if the military threat to the North was eliminated and its security guaranteed.
See, eliminated, that means that they want to kill everybody in the United States because they said eliminate.
Well, I mean, it would, again, when political statements are made, they are always open to interpretation. So, I mean, what does it mean to eliminate the threat? Would that mean shutting down the U.S. military entirely? Because I'd love to see that happen, but I don't think that the U.S. military is going to cede to that particular demand.
Right, and the U.S. military also isn't going to cede to the demand of don't do war games in South Korea where you simulate an invasion of North Korea.
The statement, if it's corroborated by North Korea, would be the first time that Mr. Kim has indicated that his government is willing to discuss relinquishing nuclear weapons in return for security guarantees from the United States. Until now, North Korea has said that its nuclear weapons were not for bargaining away. Quote, the North expressed its willingness to hold a heartfelt dialogue with the United States on the issues of denuclearization and normalizing relations with the U.S., said the statement. It made it clear that while dialogue is continuing, it will not attempt any strategic provocations, such as nuclear and ballistic missile tests. Now, I think that maybe what Trump needs to do here is step away from this situation entirely, since he obviously is a hothead and is unable to, keep his finger from hovering over the button while tweeting with his other hand about, or doing something else with his other hand, about how it is that he's a bigger man than Mr. Kim. Maybe they need to bring in Dennis Rodman.
Well, luckily there's not actually a button.
Okay, probably not.
No,
probably
that's
a phone, though.
A metaphor. Right. There is the red phone. And
hopefully it has too many numbers to dial the number. Or no, he just picks it up, doesn't he?
We do know that at one time, and we don't know if this has changed, but we do know that at one time the launch code was 000000. Yeah, the instructions were make sure that none of the numbers are set to anything other than 0.
It wouldn't surprise me if they haven't changed it.
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me either. I just said we know at one time that was the code.
On Twitter, Trump, who has veered from bellicose threats against Mr. Kim to offers to sit down with him, welcomed what he called possible progress with the North. Quote, for the first time in many years, a serious effort is being made by all parties concerned. The world is watching and waiting. May be false hope, but the U.S. is ready to go hard in either direction. Trump expounded on his reaction later to reporters during an Oval Office meeting with a Prime Minister of Sweden, saying, quote, we've come a long way, at least rhetorically, with North Korea. The statements coming out of South Korea and North Korea have been very positive, and that would be a great thing with the world, for the world. And hopefully he doesn't screw this up, because it would be a good thing. Now, again, what are the counter demands going to be? I mean, that remains to be seen at this point. What will the United States say? All right, well, you're asking for a security guarantee. You're essentially asking for protection now from the U.S. military or by the U.S. military. And so, are they willing to provide that? What would they demand in order to receive that protection? Obviously, denuclearization is on the table. But what else? Opening the borders, perhaps, or allowing the North Korean people to travel the world. Could demands such as that be made? Should demands such as that be made? In this case,
the question of could and should are completely different. Donald Trump could demand that Kim Jong-un do all kinds of things. Whether or not Kim would actually do any of those things, or whether he would, consider even remaining at the negotiating table after any of the demands. And if you say, all right, knock down the DMZ and allow people to leave. All right, I'm done.
Well, the counter demand to that could be, well, get your troops out of South Korea and let's end the war, right? Because the Korean War is still going on today.
Between the two Koreas, the United States government never formally declared war.
Okay. Well, they're still there. The U.S. government is still...
Right. The U.S. government is still in a bunch of places where they have... either never declared war or they've just been in even after the war ended 75, 80, 100 years ago.
It would be nice for Kim to say, hey, look, get out of here.
Right.
So we can't take this border down.
Right, and Trump's not going to do that.
No. We can't take this border down unless you guys are gone.
And we can't leave until you fill in the blank. And it's going to be a catch-22.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't have any high expectations for this. I just think it's an interesting international development, and it is worth pointing out that it is happening. Where this will go next, as Trump said, we'll see what happens. The cautious American reaction partly reflected a history of suspicion toward the motives of North Korea, which has remained an enemy of the United States since the 1950-53 Korean War. A pattern of what American officials have described as North Korean duplicity in previous talks has repeated itself with modest variations during the Clinton, Bush, and Obama administrations. In January of 2009, Defense Secretary at the time, Robert Gates, who had served under both Bush and Obama, summarized the American skepticism about North Korea with an oft-repeated line, quote, "I'm tired of buying the same horse twice." The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. But Kim, he's a different person than his father.
Yes.
He had a different upbringing, and maybe something different will come out of this. The toll-free number, if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE like freedom. You can join us here on the radio. This is Free Talk Live.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
You've heard of Bitcoin Cash, but did you know there's now a Bitcoin Cash wallet? The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core wallet that allows you to send and receive either currency with anyone, anywhere in the world. The Bitcoin.com wallet supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available for Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and even Linux. Learn more at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
I've said it many times on air, and I'll say it here. The New Hampshire Liberty Alliance is one of the most important organizations for freedom in the world. New Hampshire is ground zero for freedom, and the NHLA is the best organization at promoting effective liberty activism. This ad is sponsored by Free Talk Live, and I, Mark Edge, am a lifetime member because I believe in the NHLA. Please check them out at nhliberty.org. Not everyone can move right now, but you can support the cause. Donate top cryptocurrencies or old-fashioned U.S. dollars, nhliberty.org. Visit their website and see what they're all about, nhliberty.org.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, and you may take control of the airwaves by dialing toll-free here at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And don't forget to check out Zencash over at zencash.com. It is a relatively new cryptocurrency. It's starting just back in 2017, but started, importantly, by people who care about freedom. Voluntarists. People that understand what liberty is all about, understand economics, and have created a cryptocurrency that's dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. They've got some of the best technology rolled into Zencash, including zero-knowledge anonymity, which is important if you care about privacy, as you should care about privacy. Plus, there's also the creation of decentralized autonomous organizations, which have done a great job of helping cryptocurrencies like Dash succeed. So check out Zencash.com. They've got over 7,000 secure nodes, which means Zencash is one of the strongest blockchains out there on the internet, and lots of team members, almost 50 of them now, with wallets in multiple languages and available on several exchanges around the world. Once again, it's Zencash. Go and do your due diligence and check it out at Zencash.com. As we go to your calls and thoughts, we can talk more about what's happening with North Korea, actually willing to talk, willing to sit down and have some sort of conversation about possible denuclearization with the United States government. But first, we go to Riley. He's calling from Utah on Skype. Go ahead, Riley.
Hey, guys. So in my local area of St. George, Utah, there's a fairly big story going on. On Monday, a kid brought a smoking backpack to a high school, and it turns out that it was a homemade
backpack?
Yeah, it was a smoking backpack, and it turns out that it was a homemade bomb of some kind. And so that's a fairly big story because he's gotten into some ISIS propaganda and all sorts of things. It's just really, yeah.
All right, so what was it? Just an attempt at a bomb, or was it something that actually would have exploded?
It may have been a smoke bomb. It might have been that was the intention.
From my understanding, it was an attempt at making a bomb, and he was intentionally going to blow up the school.
Okay. Yeah,
right, because when I hear it, he shows up with a bag that is smoking. And I realize that all bombs are created differently, but when I think of like a bomb that's lit by ignition, it generally isn't going to smoke very long before it goes boom.
Right.
So if it's just smoking, he lit something on fire, and maybe he intended for it to blow up, but he didn't make it correctly.
Or maybe he intended to have a smoke bomb, and they're just calling it a bomb because bomb sounds a lot worse than a smoke bomb. I just saw recently on YouTube, perhaps he was inspired by this, but there's some of those prankster channels on YouTube, and a lot of them have sort of changed their tune and have stopped doing pranks because, I don't know, maybe they got tired of
got their ass whooped one too many times.
Because that has happened to some of them. But anyway, in one of the recent pranks, I think it was Twins.tv's pranks, these guys do a lot of the bait bike stuff where they'll leave a bicycle out and they'll hook up a big like a long chain or something to or a long like fishing line, something that's like hard to see, supposedly. And whether they're faking these videos or not is hard to tell, right? Like, are they hiring a homeless person?
But even if you've got like chain or a rope, somebody's not necessarily going to look.
Pay attention.
Oh, wait, this chain is tied to the bicycle.
Yeah, especially if they're in a hurry and trying to steal the thing.
Yeah.
So they've got some really great bake bike videos, which those are my favorite kind of pranks because they're really getting the people who deserve it rather than just random, strangers on the street. You're getting thieves. You're going after those people. So they put a backpack with a smoke bomb in the backpack, like in the park, leaving it by a tree and just walk away from it. And then they just wait till somebody comes up that saw the person walk away and it goes, snoop around, check it out, maybe pick it up and walk with it. And as soon as they start walking away with the backpack, there's a fishing line or something attached to the pin on a smoke bomb that's inside the backpack, and it literally starts to smoke, and I imagine might get a little bit hot on the person's back. So interesting that somebody else just had a smoking backpack at school, and something like that happened on YouTube.
The school is Pineview High School in the St. George, Utah area, in case anyone wants to go look that up.
All right. Well, thank you for the heads up on this. Anything else you want to share about it?
Not that I can think of, no. Other than the Free Talk Live Daily Digest is still available if anyone wants to listen to it.
Yeah, thanks for the reminder about that. That is a relatively popular feature, I would say, of our podcast, which is to say that you take the full 3-hour radio show, which is a 2-hour podcast after you get rid of all the commercials that we normally do in the podcast version of the show. So you get a 2-hour-long solid block of talk radio, and you whittle that down to like 20, 30 minutes typically, right?
Right, that's correct.
So yeah, your interpretations of the best moments of each show, they are available in our full podcast, or you can, if you just want to subscribe and receive just the digest. Maybe you're time challenged, you like Free Talk Live, but you don't have 2 hours a day to dedicate to it, as I imagine a lot of people don't. You can subscribe just to the Daily Digest by going to feeds.freetalklive.com. That'll pull you up a page on our website that has different links to different versions of our podcast feed. And then, of course, you can subscribe to that with your favorite podcast client, whether it be iTunes or whatever. Thanks, Riley, for the call tonight. Appreciate hearing from you.
You're welcome.
The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom.
Now, I'm curious if in, I don't know, a week or 2 weeks, it's somehow going to come out that the FBI was somehow involved in giving this kid a smoking backpack. Because remember, we've read numerous stories of the FBI sort of training someone. And see, aren't you glad that we wound up catching this guy and making him think he was working with ISIS instead of him actually working with ISIS?
Yep, and in fact, we most recently, I think we're one of the more recent stories where the FBI set somebody up. We found out there were more than 200 of these FBI setup things. So, like in the last, since 9/11 kind of thing. So, hundreds of them over a 15 or so year period. Pretty shocking because, I mean, we certainly have heard of several. We've probably talked about at least a dozen of them or so on Free Talk Live over the years. But I had no idea there were hundreds of people being wrapped up in these FBI plots, which are basically cooked up by the FBI. They then find a patsy. They find a dupe, somebody who is angry at the world or angry at the U.S. government that they find online somehow, or whatever the connection is that they make to this person, or somebody sends them a tip like, oh, so-and-so, this person I know is really angry and he's been talking about violence. And then they basically encourage that person to do some violence. They give them ideas on what to do on, oh, yeah, you should get a bomb. And then well, where do I get a bomb? I don't know anything about bombs. Well, we just so happen to have a bomb for you. Hey, how about you come meet us? We'll give you the bomb. We'll give you a detonator. And then you can just go drive it over to wherever it is that they've suggested that the person drive it to.
The Christmas tree lighting. Yeah. That was really the first one back in like 2010, 2011.
No, there were many before that.
Well, that's the first one that I remember.
Okay, yeah, these have been going on since 9/11. I mean, it didn't start that long. Probably no more than a few years after 9/11 was the first bust of somebody that they want you to believe was actually a real terrorist who, of course, didn't have his own bomb, didn't have any connections, didn't have anything except for maybe an inkling of a thought of maybe doing something, and then the FBI comes along and basically takes that inkling and boosts it up as much as they possibly can to where they then arrest the person, throw them in a prison cell, lock them away, and then they pat themselves on the back and try to make it look like they've done you a favor and that they're keeping you safe, when in fact the person probably would have never done anything without the encouragement of the FBI. There's more coming up. You can take control of the airwaves at 855-450-FREE, like freedom.
Fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. I'm talking thick, meaty, center-cut presidential bacon. Savory and delicious. I buy some, I use some, I store some. Awesome. No refrigeration needed with a 10-year shelf life. NASA-packed technology. Bacon. Fully cooked, fully hydrated, ready to eat right from the packed bacon. Or warm and served. Life-saving, ready-to-eat bacon. 10-year shelf life bacon. Ships free at fullycookedbacon.com. Fullycookedbacon.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
A congressman recently revealed that legislation totaling 2,900 pages and involving more than $1 trillion was available to members of Congress for less than 48 hours to study and consider. That's over 60 pages of legislation per hour. Do you think anyone read the entire bill? I'm Jim Babka with DownsizeDC.org. Consider a proposal buried in a 3,200-page, $388 billion bill, which would have empowered committee chairmen or their agents to examine Americans' tax returns. When this horrible provision came to light, no one claimed to know how it got into the bill. One congressman questioned said, "I didn't write it, I didn't approve it, I wasn't even consulted." If your attorney represented you this way, he might be disbarred. But this is how Congress represents you every day. That's why DownsizeDC.org has created the Read the Bills Act. You can force Congress to read their bills before they pass them at DownsizeDC.org.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You may dial toll-free, bring up whatever is on your mind. Our number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Tonight, it's Ian.
And Darryl.
Don't forget to check out Bitcoin.com. If you are not new to Bitcoin, you're going to enjoy their Bitcoin news site over at news.bitcoin.com. Get the latest headlines about the world of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. In fact, you guys were talking about a really interesting story today, Darryl, over on the Call to Freedom. You're pulling double duty tonight, by the way, for people that don't know. You were on the Call to Freedom for 3 hours. Now you're on Free Talk Live for 3 hours. And in the Crypto Hour on Call to Freedom, you guys had a story about the top 100 cryptocurrencies. That came from Bitcoin.com?
News.bitcoin.com, yes.
Yeah. And it was about how only a third of the, or 1/3 of the cryptocurrencies in the top 100 were not spendable.
Correct.
Basically, that you couldn't use it across platforms, iOS, Android, desktop. That was kind of the criteria.
Right.
Fascinating story.
Yeah. And then, they didn't even really look into, and I realized that, people doing investigative journalism don't necessarily have to do things to my level of what I would like to see. But of the ones that are spendable, meaning that there is an iOS, an Android, and a desktop client, they didn't show how many of those are actually accepted by businesses through some kind of point of sale.
That would be harder to suss that out, right? Because you'd have to know about which businesses accept what. Or are you talking about what platforms that businesses
I'm just saying,
use?
like, you can figure out, here are the 5 or 10 or however many points of sale that there are, and then look which currencies are available on these POSs.
Okay,
Would be a little more legwork, but they're already doing legwork to see if there are Android, iOS, and desktop clients.
Didn't you apply for editorship over at Bitcoin.com at one time?
I don't remember.
Because I know
Maybe
they're always hiring. Like, they're always looking for good libertarian, solid writers, at least as I understand it, over at Bitcoin.com.
Right,
So
and I don't really have the time to do the writing. Plus, I'm not that technically inclined on the here's how Bitcoin works.
Yeah, I don't know how many of their authors are that technically inclined. That's a good question. I'm not sure what the requirement is there. But if there's anybody out there listening that's pretty libertarian and a good writer and interested in cryptocurrency, you ought to reach out to, I think, editor at Bitcoin.com.
Probably.
And send them your resume. So, toll-free number if you want to join us, 855-450 free 855-450-3733, and we've got Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. Plus, there's also the Discord chat where you can jump in our on-air call-in line there, and you can talk to us about what you want. Now, was there anything else to highlight about this bomb plot in St. George, Utah?
I've got a story here from Newsweek, and it's one of those things about words that are used, especially when they're incredibly vague. Basically, they become meaningless.
Government does this a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
So the article says that police searched the home and found materials consistent with making a bomb.
Okay.
That doesn't necessarily mean anything, because you could use fertilizer and, you've got some plumbing laying around. That's a pipe. You can put fertilizer inside a pipe, and then, you've got matches, fertilizer and matches. That can make something go boom, and you put it in some plumbing,
there's all kinds
and then it's a pipe.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of
bomb.
Household things, like a 2-liter soda bottle, put some, baking soda and
a little bit of dry ice and
in there. Yeah,
vinegar.
Dry ice. Yeah, that'll do it too. Yeah, for sure. Anything that's going to create pressure, increasing pressure inside the 2-liter bottle, that can create some shrapnel, possibly could hurt somebody.
Right.
So I'm not recommending you do it, but just as an example, very, very simple household items, and I think that's your point.
My point is, everybody has materials consistent with making a bomb, because that is such a vague...
Pretty much anyone with a household.
Descriptive. Yeah, everybody's got some cleaning materials, which, cleaning material come in little plastic containers. You put stuff in there, and then it pressurizes and goes boom.
There's all kinds of warnings all over a lot of those cleaning materials, because there are ways you can use them aside from the intended uses.
Yes. Which
what those
is
all
itself,
are, I don't know.
For most of those things, is in itself a federal crime.
Yep, that's right. So again, going back to the whole thing with people committing multiple felonies without even necessarily realizing it. But
just follow the law.
Yeah, what else did they find out?
They said that police said the boy is a suspect in another crime in Hurricane, Utah, where an American flag was replaced with an ISIS flag. Police arrived on the scene on February 15th to find the American flag slashed to the ground, according to the Associated Press. Police found Hurricane High School was also graffitied with large text with the message, "ISIS is coming." Just C-O-M-I. So
maybe they meant coming.
He must have been intending to spray paint something else and then got scared and ran away.
Maybe. Or maybe his education just wasn't that great.
Maybe he was going to write comical.
Could be.
It ends C-O-M-I.
So N-G, coming. But it could be comical.
No, it just says C-O-M-I.
Right, I'm just saying. N-G would be coming.
Right.
ISIS is coming.
C-A-L, comical.
Sure. Yeah, that's right. Now, I wonder, why is he a suspect? Do they have any video footage showing him doing the damage? Or is it just because he's one of the only teenagers to get in trouble in St. George, Utah in recent weeks, and so therefore he's a suspected troublemaker? They don't say, I imagine.
Well, the Newsweek article doesn't say, but something else I was reading said that the students saw him with the backpack that was smoking, and okay, this and that. So they've kind of connected the dots of this guy with the thing, and
I'm not sure if there are any dots to connect between a random graffitiing and ISIS flag versus a backpack with a smoke bomb in it.
Police allege they have discovered the boy had researched and showed an interest in ISIS. So there's the dot that connects him to the other ISIS thing.
Got it. So they went through his computer.
Right.
Likely.
Now, who's to say that he wasn't writing a research paper on the Middle East? And, well, what's one of the things happening in the Middle East right now? ISIS is a thing.
The toll-free number, if you want to join us here, 855-450, free like freedom. In other news out of the west side of the United States, the state of California has been sued in federal court by the Trump administration, by Trump's Justice Department, saying 3 recently passed state laws were deliberately interfering with federal immigration policies. It marked the latest legal and political confrontation with the nation's most populous state, which the federal government says has repeatedly stood in the way of its plans to step up enforcement actions in the workplace and against so-called criminal aliens. Now, of course, they use the term criminal here to describe anybody who has broken a stupid law like the immigration laws, not criminals in the idea of a murderer or a rapist.
Right.
And that's part of the process of trying to dehumanize and to make immigrants look like bad people.
Right. And if you just throw around the word criminal,
somebody will believe
you must have done something wrong.
Right. And, of course, we don't consider it to be wrong to break victimless crime statutes or codes or laws, but they do consider that a crime. And to me, that's an insult against people who've actually been victimized by murderers, rapists, and the like. But regardless, according to Attorney General Jeff Sessions, he says, quote, "The Department of Justice and the Trump administration are going to fight these unjust, unfair, and unconstitutional policies." He said further, "We are fighting to make your job safer," as he was apparently speaking to California law enforcement officers, "and help you reduce crime in America."
Okay, so here's an easy way to reduce crime in America. Get rid of all of the drug laws.
Oh, yeah.
That would greatly reduce crime. Get rid of, all the other laws that wind up creating criminals where there's not an actual victim.
Let's talk more about what California has done. Again, they've got 3 new laws that the Trump administration is suing them about regarding the immigration or protecting immigrants in California. And will this new conflict between the federal government and California maybe persuade more Californians that it's time to leave the union, time to secede? It's Free Talk Live.
I've said it many times on air, and I'll say it here. The New Hampshire Liberty Alliance is one of the most important organizations for freedom in the world. New Hampshire is ground zero for freedom, and the NHLA is the best organization at promoting effective liberty activism. This ad is sponsored by Free Talk Live, and I, Mark Edge, am a lifetime member because I believe in the NHLA. Please check them out at nhliberty.org. Not everyone can move right now, but you can support the cause. Donate top cryptocurrencies or old-fashioned U.S. dollars, nhliberty.org. Visit their website and see what they're all about, nhliberty.org.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core wallet that allows you to send and receive either currency with anyone, anywhere in the world. The Bitcoin.com wallet supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. Download the Bitcoin.com wallet for easy and secure access to your Bitcoin Core and your Bitcoin Cash. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available for Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and even Linux. Learn more at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
It's been said, any society is only 3 missed meals away from chaos. Those times may be near. Think about it. Our country faces multiple terrorist threats and aggressions from Russia and North Korea. Social unrest and violent marches yet again may lead to looting of stores and city shutdowns. And our crumbling infrastructure leaves our power grid vulnerable to long-term outages from a single cyber attack. When the chaos from any one of these threats arises, the government knows it can't provide during a widespread national emergency. That's why you need your own plan for self-reliance. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. Get a 4-week survival food supply for only $99. That includes breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Order
Can you hear me?
online at preparewithgcn.com. $99 for 4 weeks of survival food that tastes like homemade cooking and lasts up to 25 years from My Patriot Supply. Get your kits today at preparewithgcn.com. Free shipping is included. Preparewithgcn.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. Here in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
And Darryl.
We're going to continue here. We'll take your calls and your thoughts about what you want to discuss. That is the point of the show. We had just started into a story about California's new sanctuary state laws that the Trump administration is now suing them over. We'll tell you more about that coming up, but also want to let you know about the good news that we've decided to start promoting the upcoming camping event called Fork Fest, that you had created the name for that, Darryl. We were wondering aloud on the air last night about it. Like, who came? I know I heard it somewhere, but I just couldn't quite remember where it was.
Yeah, so
what
it's
inspired that
a
name?
fork of... so what inspired the name was I heard about this thing called Anarcho-Forco.
Right.
That was the fork of Anarchapulco.
Correct, which is the event that Mark and I just got back from a couple weeks ago in Acapulco, Mexico, which had like 1,700 liberty-minded people. It was an incredible event. But there were some people who, you know, they'd gone to the first few Anarchapulcos, and this was the fourth. And it's sort of gone into, as it's gone into larger venues, it's gone into more sort of cloistered off, fenced off, touristy zones in Acapulco, where you actually have to go
more
through a
upscale
checkpoint.
areas.
Yeah, you actually have to go through a checkpoint where men with machine guns are standing there in order to get into the hotel area. So the idea was, hey, this is taking the event out of Acapulco and it's putting it into the touristy zone. Let's have an event actually in Acapulco, like in old Acapulco or something like that. And that was, and the idea was, hey, let's do this after Anarchapulco. So it's not during, it's not, competing directly, but let's, give people an excuse to stay in Acapulco longer and go and explore the rest of the city.
Yeah, so my original idea when coming up with the name Fork Fest, that sounds funny, was to fork Shire Fest and Somalia Fest.
Which were the two kind of names that people were calling this thing last year.
Right, so that you would get one Fork Fest for every Shire and Somalia Fest that you had at the date that Fork Fest was created. So, there's
really
a snapshot.
Yeah.
No, it's sort of like how, cryptocurrencies, they're doing all these, coding fork. So there's a snapshot, and then you get one of each, and based on this. And
yeah, you're referring to all the crypto Bitcoin forks that have been happening within the last year, basically. It started in earnest in August of last year. And now there are, I don't know how many dozen.
There's one that just launched where it was a dual code fork to become a single thing.
I heard about that one too.
Bitcoin Private. So it was a fork of Z Classic and Bitcoin.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of this, and it's been a big pain and annoying.
Right. And it wasn't just in the crypto sphere, the word fork has two completely different meanings. There's a code fork, which means that you take the code and you make some changes, and then your new thing is a completely standalone product. And then there's a fork of the chain where you're just saying, oh, yeah, we're part of this thing too, and we've got the same lineage.
Yep, that's true. And they can also change the code when they do the chain fork too as well.
Right.
And fork can also apply to the schisms that have happened within the Liberty Movement.
Right.
Where whether we're talking about the New Hampshire Liberty Movement or the larger one with the Libertarian Party or other sides of the Liberty sphere, there are frequently situations that arise when a group becomes too large. And when that group becomes too large, they have disagreements, which of course is why Bitcoin forked in the first place, because there were disagreements behind the scenes. But similarly, whether it be religion, whether it be politics, whatever the group is, if a sewing club gets too large, it'll probably have a schism and and fork. So that would be the idea behind Fork Fest, the way I see it at least. And everybody is subject to their own interpretation. But this is a celebration of forks, of people going off and doing their own thing. And in this case, it's completely decentralized. There's nobody who's in charge of it. And I was telling actually Crosby this, who's the owner of Rogers Campground, because I was on the phone with him today. And why was it me? Well, I happen to have Crosby's cell phone number,
right.
So do you call the owner directly when something like this is coming up? Yes, absolutely. So it's like, look, I'm not in charge of this, even though I'm on the phone asking you questions. I had questions from different people that had said, hey, can you ask him this? Like, what does it cost to rent the pavilion? So if somebody wants to rent the pavilion, that's their decision. They would then have control of that particular piece of the campground and could put on whatever kind of thing in the pavilion they want to do. Maybe a musical act, maybe speeches, maybe karaoke, maybe cooking, I don't know. And so the whole idea behind what happened last year with Somalia Fest and Shire Fest is let the decentralized market come up with this event.
Right.
Maybe it won't be anything more than just people camping and enjoying each other's company in the woods. And I think for the most part, that's what it was. But there were a couple of things that happened that were pretty special, and they were unique to what was then Shire Fest, but we'll call it Fork Fest for now. But was unique to that, like Will Coley threw a rave in Ernie Hancock's dome that they had up, which was a lot of fun. And James Babb, who is a longtime activist, longtime attendee of PorkFest, listener of Free Talk Live, he threw a big party on the last night of PorkFest last year at his campsite and had basically the whole campground on his campsite, which was a lot of fun as well. So we're going to see things like that, I'm sure, sprout up here within the next couple months, because this is just about 3 months away at this point. The dates for PorkFest, and if you want to come sooner and stay later, it's obviously up to you. But for the 14th of June, that's a Thursday, through the 18th, which is a Monday. So it's basically the weekend before the Porcupine Freedom Festival. So if you were thinking of attending the Porcupine Freedom Festival and you want to show up early, there's going to be libertarians there for several days prior to that. There is a website, and it should be available on most, well, the website itself isn't up, but there is a URL, forkfest.party. Is where you can go, and that'll take you over to the Forkfest forums, where you can connect with other Forkfesters and so on. Let's go to Ben. He's calling us from New Hampshire. You're on Free Talk Live on Skype. Go ahead, Ben.
Hello. So I'm calling in because we're going to let you all know that in New Hampshire, residents can purchase Narcan nasal spray without a prescription directly from a pharmacist.
That's correct. This is a nasal spray that was legalized for sale here in New Hampshire a couple of years ago.
Yeah, Narcan, I believe, is a brand name. Naloxone is the generic name.
To her credit, it was a former libertarian, now turned Democrat, which is a surprise, Amanda Bolden, who headed that up, and it was a good piece of legislation on her behalf because it has allowed people to have access to a drug that could save lives and has saved lives. People who've been overdosed on opiates like heroin can take this or can be administered this product, and it can sort of bring them back from the brink of death, basically. I mean, I'm sure that's not a medical way to describe it, but that's my understanding of what it can do for people.
Yeah, and from what I've been reading in the last couple hours, it's also possible, I think probable that it can work with fentanyl, and that's the big problem right now, I think. I usually have a med kit handy in my backpack or my car or something. I can't afford Narcan itself. I'm thinking about getting Naxalone, but I think I just want my big message is if you do have the means to, get this in your med kit, get a med kit.
How expensive is it? I didn't get the impression it was particularly expensive.
So Narcan is somewhat expensive. I just called up the local Rite Aid here in Manchester, and they would sell it to me without a prescription through the pharmacist for $295.99.
Okay, that is a
that for a single dose? Is that
That's for one? It's for one dose of the nasal spray. Yeah, so it's pricey.
That is a little pricier than I figured, maybe $50 or something like that, but I never looked into it.
That's at the main west side Manchester Rite Aid, 122 McGregor Street.
Now you said Narcan is the brand name and naloxone is the drug name?
Yes.
So is there a price on the naloxone?
I don't have a price on that, but I did have somebody just talk to me on social media saying that it is possible to buy naloxone online for significantly less.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually looking online, and I see prices that are significantly less.
Yeah, okay, so there you go. Do a little shopping around, and if you know somebody who is, certainly if you know somebody who is an addict of opiates and you care about them, then this is one way to help keep them alive.
And just one last point, if you don't mind. And the reason that I have this on my mind is last night I was at the convenience store and was talking to this lady. She was just a little upset, and I meet people like this from time to time. And I don't know if it was her husband, I think it was her boyfriend, but they'd been together for a long time, and he just died and a few days before. So I ended up talking to her for a little while, and it hits home. I've had some good friends die from hard drugs, so it's something it's important to think about.
Yeah, and this may not keep them alive forever, but it might help them, maybe bounce back from rock bottom and possibly give them a chance.
And Narcan.com says that for qualified groups, you can buy it for $125 per carton.
Hey, thanks for the call tonight, Ben. Appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number, if you want to join us here, is 855-450. Free like freedom. You take control of the airwaves.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, March 7th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.63 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,330 per ounce. Zen Cash is trading at $33, and the average price of Bitcoin is $10,639. Antiwar.com reports it's been a little over 2 weeks since the Syrian army launched its most recent offensive against rebel-held eastern Ghouta, a suburb of Damascus. The push has included intense air and artillery strikes and a costly civilian death toll. According to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, some 800 civilians, including at least 177 children. A lot more civilians have been killed in this fight than combatants by all accounts, though no reliable figures exist on how many combatants were slain on either side. Roughly a third of rebel-held eastern Ghouta has fallen over that period, leading civilians to flee deeper into the area. Russia is suggesting they flee the other way, however, offering everyone, including rebels, safe passage out of Ghouta. Syria and their allies are eager to get the rebels out of eastern Ghouta because it's the last substantial rebel-held territory this close to the capital city. Eastern Ghouta has been used for artillery strikes against Damascus and at times outright infiltration into the capital. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports in the first weeks after President Donald Trump's latest travel ban was implemented on December 8th, around 100 waivers were granted to thousands of applicants for U.S. visas from 8 countries subject to its restrictions, according to State Department data provided to Reuters. Between December 8th and January 8th, more than 8,400 people applied for U.S. visas from Chad, Iran, Libya, North Korea, Syria, Somalia, Yemen, and Venezuela, the countries listed on the ban. Of those, 128 applicants qualified for visas because they fell into categories exempted from the ban, according to a letter from the State Department sent last month to U.S. Senator Chris Van Hollen. Exemptions to the ban are made for lawful permanent residents of the United States and certain other categories of applicants. The ban contains the provision that those who do not qualify for exemptions can be considered for waivers in special circumstances, such as a need for urgent medical care or to accommodate adoptions. Waivers can also be granted to those previously granted visas who want to return to employment or study in the United States. Significant business obligations or close U.S. family ties can also be taken into consideration for a waiver. As of February 15th, only 2 of the initial month's applicants had been approved for the waivers, according to the letter, which was seen by Reuters. Since then, more than 100 additional waivers have been granted, according to the State Department on Tuesday. It was not clear how many of those additional waivers went to applicants from the initial month. The White House did not immediately respond to a request for comment about the issue. A State Department official said the policy is being implemented as called for in the president's proclamation. Van Hollen, a Democrat, along with Republican Senator Jeff Flake, requested the information about visas from the State Department in late January, saying in a letter to the agency and the Department of Homeland Security that they had received reports of the near-uniform denial of waivers for visas. Van Hollen said in a statement to Reuters, the Trump administration claims that the waiver system can be used by people who pose no threat to the country, but these facts show that system is a farce designed to hide the president's true purpose. 6 of the 8 countries included in the ban are majority Muslim. Courts have struck down the first two versions of the Republican president's travel ban, and the current one is narrower in scope than its predecessors. The Supreme Court will consider its legality this spring, and a decision is expected by June. Many visa applicants from the 8 countries were denied even before the travel ban, and since it took effect, more than 1,700 of the 8,400 visa applicants were denied for reasons other than the travel ban, according to the State Department's data. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap and Amazon, at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Yesterday, 2 groups of men shot at each other near Bagram Base, where I am. Today, the soldiers are happy about some of the men dying and sad about other men dying. Sergeant First Class Aaron Tomlin is only sad about 4 of the dead people.
It's a long, tough day here. We lost 4 good men.
No, 27 men died. 4 American soldiers and 23 Taliban soldiers. You said that 4 soldiers die and it makes you sad. But you said when Taliban soldiers die, it does not make you sad. I asked Base Commander David Hawkins to make it make sense.
The last thing we resort to is hurting anyone. But you have to understand, it's our job to keep the American people safe from our enemies. And sometimes that includes...
So if you kill your enemies at your job, it is not sad.
Well...
What if I killed my enemy Ryan at my job? It would not be sad?
No, you shouldn't do that.
But he is rude to me. He steals my yogurts. He makes fun of the way I talk.
Look, only soldiers can kill without getting in trouble.
Okay. Are you going to kill Ryan?
No.
It does not make sense.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want. Our toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we do have Skype. The Skype username is lrn.fm. And I misspoke earlier. I said that the ForkFest website is not up. The site's there, but there's nothing on it, and it was due to technical reasons pointed at the empty site at the moment. So if you want to find ForkFest discussion, just go to forum.forkfest.party, and that's where you'll find people talking about what's going to happen this year, which is just now getting started. That's forum.forkfest.party. As Ian and Darryl continue here, we started a story just barely in the last hour about the state of California has been sued by the Trump administration, by their Justice Department. Attorney General Jeff Sessions claims they're going to be fighting what they call unjust, unfair, and unconstitutional policies. He claims that he's going to fight to make the jobs of law enforcement safer and help them reduce crime in America. The state's Democratic Governor Jerry Brown fired back, quote, "At a time of unprecedented political turmoil, Jeff Sessions has come to California to further divide and polarize America. Jeff, these political stunts may be the norm in Washington, but they don't work here. Sad." Unquote. Federal officials are seeking an injunction to immediately block enforcement of the 3 California laws, which were enacted within the past year. One of those laws offers additional worker protections against federal immigration enforcement actions. Senior Justice Department officials have said it's prevented companies from voluntarily cooperating with immigration and customs enforcement officials. It's a strange thing to say. The law prevents voluntary cooperation with the feds. Employers are, I don't know if I agree with whatever their interpretation is. I suspect it's designed to favor their viewpoint,
now,
obviously.
My understanding, because I've read articles about what the law is, the law prohibits an employer from cooperating absent having a warrant.
A warrant. In fact, it says here the employers are mandated under the law to demand that ICE agents present a warrant or subpoena before entering certain areas of the premises or when accessing some employee records. Some companies have complained they felt torn between trying to comply with seemingly contradictory state and federal statutes, since penalties for noncompliance can be steep from both entities. So yeah, which gang do you want to comply with here? They're both threatening you. So again, I'm not in favor of forcing businesses to demand a warrant. I think it's a good idea. I think that you absolutely should demand a warrant. But if you just want to bend over and let the federal government do whatever it is they want to do, then I guess that should be your freedom. I think it's, unfortunate, but there are some people that love to be obedient. It makes them feel good to submit.
Yeah, and I'm kind of torn on this.
Okay, what do you mean?
Because, ultimately what the state law is doing is protecting the workers from being, wrongly arrested just because the employer is, okay, go ahead and look at all of my files.
Right.
Go ahead, arrest my fry cook. Not that I know any employers that would necessarily say, go ahead and arrest my fry cook.
In some cases, they arrest a good chunk of the employees. I mean, if we're talking about a manufacturing facility, I remember hearing a story about one of those that they just basically decimated a town. I forget which state that was, but it was several years back.
Generally, that's a thing. They come in and say, you're suspected of, and then they handcuff the boss so that the boss can't go tell his employees, hey, you're about to get arrested, guys.
Employees or some companies have complained they felt torn. Another state law dubbed by known critics as the Sanctuary State Bill protects immigrants without legal residency by limiting state and municipal cooperation with the feds, including what information can be shared about illegal immigrant inmates. While a third law gives state officials the power to monitor and inspect immigrant detention facilities, either run directly by or contracted through the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Now, that's an interesting one. I mean, basically saying, hey, if you're having a detention facility on our state property, then we're going to be able to go in there and look at it. Now, of course, I would imagine the feds would argue it's not your state property. That's federal land that we have that on. So this does seem to be sort of brewing to an interesting conflict here.
Right. And, hopefully the Californians wind up realizing that they're running into some conflicts with the federal government, and they go ahead and they sign those petitions that are being circulated to put secession on the ballot. And then California just go ahead, declare independence. You'll be the 5th largest economy in the world.
I know. It'd be incredible.
You're not going to have to deal with Donald Trump and his tiny little hands and his border wall.
And now they're going to screw it up, too, because, they believe in big government in California. California is the number 49th most free state of the 50 states, so it is not a place where people who care about freedom really should be spending much time.
Oh, and I hope that my statement shouldn't be construed as, hey, freedom lovers, go to California.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's great, though. I really do hope they secede. The Justice Department has said it's confident that the Constitution's Supremacy Clause gives it broad authority to supersede state laws that they say interfere with their immigration enforcement obligations. Still, state officials in the past have cited the 10th Amendment's guarantee of states not being compelled to enforce federal laws. The California Attorney General, Xavier Becerra, said, quote, "We've seen this B-rated movie before, so we're not totally surprised," unquote. The Justice Department is also reviewing Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf's decision to warn of an immigration sweep in advance, which ICE said allowed hundreds of immigrants to escape detention. Quote, "Oakland is a city of immigrants," said the mayor. "We will continue to exercise our legal right to exist as a sanctuary city. We will continue to inform all residents about their constitutional rights, and we will continue to support California's sanctuary status." The Democratic mayor responded. What an unusual circumstance. You now have a state government, or in this case, a city government of Oakland, informing people. Now, I don't know how accurate the information is, but they are informing people, they claim, about their constitutional rights, letting people know, hey, if an officer comes up to you on the streets and starts to ask you questions, you don't have to answer their questions. Now, this isn't legal advice, but that's my understanding as a longtime police accountability activist.
Right, and the ACLU, they even have little trifolds that you can, and when I say little trifolds, I mean it's something you can fit in your wallet that folds out.
Yeah, like a Know Your Rights card.
That is Know Your Rights if dealing with ICE.
Exactly. And we've actually seen those, and they are pretty great. So I'm glad to hear this. I mean, I don't mind when governments fight other governments. That doesn't really bother me. There's a lot of things that governments do that bother me, and they usually have to do with destroying people's rights and freedoms.
Right.
But if it's one government fighting another government, I mean, I understand that the courts cost money, and the
right. And here we're talking about like the fighting of words, not fighting with
not
missiles
open arms.
and bombs and spears and guns.
Right. But, I understand that the courts cost money, and certainly there are some costs with having these little spats, but at least they're not spending that money fighting individuals, right? They're not going after the little guy in this case. And in fact, it's ironic to see, government.
They're fighting over whether or not they can spend money to arrest and detain and deport people.
Well, they're going to keep spending money whether or not this fight happens, but at the very least, it's nice to see a state government standing up to the feds. And this is something that we need to see more of. I mean, certainly here in New Hampshire, we've done it a little bit, like with the seat belts, where New Hampshire state government continues to reject seatbelt proposals by statists who want to force seatbelts on all adults.
Yes.
And the state has continued to vote those proposals down. And that also means they're refusing millions of dollars in federal funds, which is to say your money, taxpayer money, that could be coming to the state of New Hampshire. The state has said no to that. And they've done it on a couple of different occasions.
Right, and New Hampshire is a donor state, meaning that more money leaves New Hampshire going to the federal government than comes back from the federal government. And even more so since there was the border dispute between Maine and New Hampshire that I didn't even know about until recently. Apparently, the naval shipyard that for a long time had been in New Hampshire is actually in Maine.
Oh, is this over in the Portsmouth area?
Yeah, because the way the border between Maine and New Hampshire was defined as a certain spot in the river.
Well, they can have it. I mean, we don't need any federal shipyards.
Yeah.
So the fewer federal installations we have, the easier the secession of New Hampshire should be, right?
Yep.
If it ever, and hopefully when it comes to that. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. More about the federal lawsuit against the state of California. And are Californians going to rise up and demand secession as a result of the ongoing conflict? You tell us. It's Free Talk Live.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core wallet that allows you to send and receive either currency with anyone, anywhere in the world. Download the Bitcoin.com wallet for easy and secure access to your Bitcoin Cash. It's perfect for beginners, and the Bitcoin.com wallet makes using and holding Bitcoins easy. No logins are required. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available for Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and even Linux. Learn more at Bitcoin.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
If you're looking for work, you know the math. There are many more applicants than openings, so you need to stand out, not blend into the blah, blah, blah your interviewer is hearing from your competition. Here's a tip. In your interview, you will be judged more by the questions you ask than the answers you give. Yes, do anticipate the obvious job interview questions and prepare concise, insightful, glass-half-full sounding responses. And you should interview your interviewer. Seem genuinely curious about what will help get results. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. You want to cut through the clutter. For more tips for job seekers and making all the other conversations you have more productive, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial toll free to join us right here. Bring up whatever you want. Our number is 855-450 free like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. With you tonight, you've got Ian
and Darryl.
We are sharing with you what I would consider to be good news. That is, the federal government is fighting with the state government of California. Two of the least freedom-oriented governmental organizations on the planet now engaged in a court battle thanks to the Justice Department. Now, I'm not saying I support the Justice Department in their arguments here. I like the idea of sanctuary states. I like the idea of a state government actually doing something to protect their people from the federal government's predations and violence. So, I mean, I understand that the California government hasn't been particularly libertarian in the way that they've done that. So, I mean, we have our critiques of it. But regardless,
right,
I can still appreciate the sentiment there. If you want to call in and share with us your thoughts, our number is 855-450-FREE. We've got Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. We also have our Discord on-air call-in line to allow you to take control of the airwaves here on Free Talk Live. You know, something I did last night, Darryl, was I was helping out with some of the Fork Fest planning that we started yesterday.
Yes.
Johnson and Will and I had been conferring about a few different things. And once we had sort of all decided, well, let's do it these dates, because last year was the 5 days prior to Pork Fest, so this year it's the 5 days prior to Pork Fest. We're having Fork Fest from June 14th through the 18th. And so, of course, I went straight to liberty.menu thinking, all right, I need to add this to the events listing on liberty.menu because we talk about liberty.menu a lot here.
Yep.
I am one of the top 10 submitters on liberty.menu. I think I'm at like number 8, so I think you're number 1.
Yes.
At the moment.
Yes, I am.
Because you get points on liberty.menu in reference to anything that you create on the site. Anything you kind of contribute to the site is worth something in the point system on that site. And it's not a cryptocurrency or anything like that, but maybe it should be. But it's a cool little kind of gamified
Well, the points can be redeemed once you get enough of them.
Really?
Yes.
For what?
Various things that...
Oh, cool.
And I'll go to
like an
the
upgrade?
site.
Some kind of an upgrade?
Let me go to the thing and I'll actually wind up telling you.
So they are worth something. That's good to know. So I went and I created an event entry for ForkFest 2018. It is there for the dates that are appropriate at the location that's appropriate, which of course is Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of northern New Hampshire. And once again, June 14th through the 18th. And then I made a handy subdomain so you can easily get to that event page by going to rsvp.forkfest.party. And so then you can, one of the things that I didn't know about liberty.menu is event listings have a, hey, are you coming kind of thing, where, you know how in like Facebook events, people can indicate whether or not they're attending.
Yes.
Same thing's true on liberty.menu, and it's not Facebook. So, of course, I love the idea of doing things off of Facebook because I think Facebook is intentionally crippling their platform. And I think there's plenty of evidence for that. That's not speculation, that Facebook makes it difficult to reach the people that want you to reach them. that want to follow your posts or your page or your event. It makes it hard to reach those people, and then they demand money, and they say, "Oh, you want to reach your fans? You want to reach all these people that say they want to hear what you have to say? Well, just give us $20 in Facebook advertising, and we'll promote your link to them." And whether that actually works effectively or not is another question, but I don't feel good giving those people any money for giving me a crippled platform. Whereas with Liberty.menu, it's completely free to use, and you can just go right in there and indicate that you plan to attend ForkFest or whatever other events might happen to be in your area over at Liberty.menu.
Yeah, and then they have the Liberty Store, and the link used to be very easy to find for the Liberty Store, where I just did wind up finding it, and there are a couple of things on here. You can get stickers and
like Liberty.menu stickers.
So there's Statist Gonna State, Give Me Liberty or Give Me Death. And then there is a sticker pack where it's a combo of those two. So
and you can redeem points for that.
Yes.
That's pretty sweet. So check out Liberty.menu. The main goal of it is to allow libertarian businesses and events and digital media creators to connect with potential customers and viewers and buyers and that sort of thing. So check it out. It's free to use at Liberty.menu. And once again, if you want to get to that ForkFest entry, just jump straight to rsvp.forkfest.party, and that'll take you right to the entry on Liberty.menu. So an estimated 2.5 million immigrants, this is from Fox News, are believed to be in California illegally. In the most recent figures, ICE has reported about 16% of its enforcement apprehensions take place in that state. Oh, isn't that a cute term? Enforcement apprehension. It's not the same thing as an arrest or a kidnapping. It's just an apprehension. You've been apprehended.
Right, and legally, it is not an arrest because you go to a detention facility.
And you're not being charged with a criminal act?
Correct. Violating immigration laws is not a criminal offense. It is a violation. The same as jaywalking is a violation.
But you usually don't get taken to a detention facility if you're jaywalking.
Right.
So it sure feels like you are a criminal, right? Like it feels like you're
certainly.
Yeah.
And then if you get deported, then little flags go on your thing to where you're not legally allowed to enter the country for certain periods of time. So yeah, it has basically the effects of being criminal, but legally it is not a criminal offense.
Because that's what you can do in legal land. You can just call something else, and then it's something else, even though it feels like, it looks like, it appears to be by all, the rose by other names, right?
Yes. So when the judge is sleeping, no. The court can't hear you, sir. Mm-hmm. It's not, the judge can't hear you. The court can't hear you unless you stand.
Unless you're crippled, in which case then the court can hear you while you're sitting.
Right, but we've seen where the judge will say, the court can't hear you unless you stand, sir.
Oh, it's a religion. I mean, it's straight up a bizarre kind of worshipful religion. You've even got pews in the room usually with these judges. It's very orderly, very quiet, and they have certain they have certain things that they go through regularly that and I'm not using the right term for it, but rites or rituals, that they go through, and it's creepy. It's really creepy. And then you've got this man who's referring to himself in the third person as the court. And then you also have the prosecutor who will refer to themselves as the state of New Hampshire or the state of, fill in the blank. They're not an individual. They are the state. And some of these questions came up during my recent trial when I was on trial for so-called misuse of plates, where I got to ask lots of fun questions to the police officer in that particular case.
Including, did you make sure that you wrote down the correct violation here? Because what I'm seeing and what you wrote are not the same.
And, of course, that didn't matter, as I predicted that it wouldn't. So even though they totally wrote down the wrong RSA that they charged me with.
Yep, because their rules say that we can amend at any time as justice requires.
They got their justice. 12 hours of community service.
Justice requires it, Ian.
Toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. If you want to see that recent court hearing, it's in full, including the pullover with you and I, Darryl, and including the sentencing hearing, the whole thing. I made one long video out of it. It's over at the Free Keene YouTube channel. We'll continue with the conflict between California and the federal government, which is suing the state of California over immigration.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to goberkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. goberkey.com.
Anytime, any place, anywhere, radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Free Talk Live, the show where anyone can call about whatever they want. And we do mean anyone.
Now, you also said in another video that the moon is an iPod. Can you explain that one?
I believe the moon, the reason why it turns the color that it does is because it fills up with the humidity and water from the transmission of electrons or electricity. I believe that we're upside down being pulled by magnets right now. The actual ocean is in the sky, and they're reserving that sky. The reason we have thunder and lightning is because of the shock waves that go through the two skies up above. Otherwise, where's the thunder and lightning going to come? Because there's no way the clouds are that thick, or the planes wouldn't be able to go through it.
Have you ever been abducted by aliens?
No. Wait a second. Hold on a second. I think so. 45 minutes every single night.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road underground market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. Dial toll free to bring up whatever you want. Our number, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733 with you tonight. It's Ian.
And Darryl.
We've got Skype. You can Skype in at Skype username LRN.FM or join us on the Discord on-air call-in line over at discord.lrn.fm. There are hundreds of people who have taken the time to jump into the Discord and chat over in various different categories. We've got show categories for Free Talk Live and Call to Freedom. There are general discussion, New Hampshire-related discussion, gaming, cryptocurrency discussions, all of that. Plus, there's a special AMP-only, contributor-only section for people that support directly Free Talk Live and LRN.FM, so you get special chat rooms just for you. So if you haven't gotten on Discord yet, it's cool, man. There's apps that you can get. So you can use the web version if you want, or you can actually have an app for your smartphone or other smart device or your laptop or desktop. So I've got Discord on my phone and the studio computer here, so pretty much wherever I am, I can be in there. Because there's a lot of times interesting, fun, good discussions happening there at discord.lrn.fm. So we've been talking about the state of California and their new immigration protections that they've put into place over the last year, 3 different state laws, and they have now been sued for their efforts by the federal government. The Trump administration Department of Justice suing, saying that the state of California is getting in the way of their immigrations and customs enforcement, and they want to put a stop to these 3 laws. The latest legal action, according to Fox News, is part of an aggressive push to enforce existing immigration laws, with Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General, in previous remarks citing a porous U.S. border with Mexico and the threat of criminal activity by immigrant gangs. Federal officials repeatedly have cited the case of Kate Steinle, shot to death by an illegal alien and 7-time felon in San Francisco, one of 35 communities in the state declaring itself a sanctuary city. See, Darryl, there's violent immigrants, therefore police state.
There are also violent people that were born and raised in the United States of America. Does that mean that we're going to prevent people from having babies?
Absolutely not. They're going to incentivize that through the welfare system.
Where's the legal and moral and ethical difference?
Indeed.
Oh, right. Those people look different. Just admit you're a xenophobe.
The difference, actually, Darryl, is if you have people that are raised by the state, people who are raised essentially by the welfare system, those people are actually more likely, in my opinion, to be violent, to be criminal. They're more likely to stay sort of within the institutional realm. They maybe were taken from their parents by the state when they were younger, put into foster homes, put under state care, put under various different state programs, and then what do you know? A lot of those people end up going to jail when they become a so-called adult, and they stay in these institutions, costing taxpayers money and basically wasting their life away, whereas immigrants, most of whom are coming here, are actually coming to make a better life. They're coming to work hard. They're coming to open up their own businesses. They're coming to make their lives better than where it was that they were leaving, as opposed to these state-run institutions that just crank out more criminals. So it's even worse when it's the state raising people.
Right. But of course, you're never going to hear one of these, law and order conservatives ever even think of saying that people in the United States should not be allowed to have babies, even though the statistics show that people born and raised in the United States commit crimes at a higher rate than immigrants.
It's absolutely true. The Justice Department in January threatened California and other states with subpoenas and a loss of grant money for repeatedly failing to respond to requests for immigration compliance under a federal law known as Section 1373. Federal officials would not say whether other states were at risk of similar lawsuits over their alleged noncompliance with immigration laws. Well, I would bet that if the feds are successful with this suit, then other suits will be imminent. But I'm also interested to see how California responds to this, because so far they've been pretty good at going up against the federal government, not backing down, at least in this particular instance. Maybe this will give them some gumption to do the same in other areas where the federal government is demanding that they do or not do certain things. Maybe their response to being sued will be, all right, well, maybe you can sue us on these other things then, because we're going to start doing those too, like refusing federal payments or something like that.
Right, and there was a ruling, and I happen to have remembered this when you mentioned, wonder if there's going to be other lawsuits against other sanctuary jurisdictions. There was a ruling back in September. Federal court ruled in favor of the city of Chicago because Sessions and company wanted to withhold federal grants from so-called sanctuary cities, City of Chicago sued, saying, hey, we meet the criteria that they're laying out for sanctuary, and they can't just take the grants away from us after they've already given them. Went to federal court, and the judge said, yeah, Chicago, you're right.
They can't take the grants away.
They cannot.
All right. Well, that's good. We'll see what happens in this case.
They can wind up putting conditions on new grants, but they can't add new conditions on existing grants.
Makes sense. And so I love it.
Now, if they were smart, they could wind up just phasing out all of the existing grants and then putting new conditions on new grants.
And maybe they are smart enough to do that, maybe not, but it will be interesting to see here.
I don't think they're smart enough.
Here's headlines here. I just searched for California secession, since we were saying, hey, is this conflict between the feds and California going to escalate? Could this result in more people in California saying, all right, well, we'll just go ahead and leave? Attorney General Jeff Sessions, according to TheHill.com, issued a warning to California the same day he announced the lawsuit that we just discussed by the Department of Justice. Quote, I understand that we have a wide variety of political opinions out there on immigration, but the law is in the books and its purposes are clear and just, he said during a speech to California's Peace Officers Association. Quote, there is no nullification. There is no secession. Federal law is the supreme law of the land. I would invite any doubters to go to Gettysburg, to the tombstones of John C. Calhoun and Abraham Lincoln. This matter has been settled. There you go, Darryl. They're ready to go. They're ready to go to another civil war over secession. That is what he is suggesting. He's basically invoking Barack Obama's answer to Texas back in the year 2012.
Yeah.
When, you may recall, after the 2012 election and Barack Obama's re-election, he was asked a question. There was a White House, I don't know if it still exists, but there was a White House website.
The petition.whitehouse.gov.
I wonder if they've taken it down or if it's still there.
It's there under like archives, something.
So you can't make new ones.
I don't believe you can.
So there was this big petition with over, I think, 100,000 signatures saying, hey, Texas says we want to leave. We want to secede from this union. You okay with that? And basically Barack Obama's his answer was the same as Jeff Sessions. Was like, well, we settled that in the Civil War. You ain't going anywhere.
Governor Jerry Brown on Wednesday slammed Attorney General Jeff Sessions for initiating a reign of terror against immigrants in California, saying, quote, this is basically going to war against the state of California, the engine of the American economy. It's not wise, it's not right, and it will not stand.
Whoa, I like that. Normally tough talk doesn't impress me from politicians, but man, when they fight with each other, bring it on, man. Bring on the ring. Get them out in the ring, and I want to see them pound each other. By the way, you missed last night. Dave in New York called in, and he wanted to go off about his least favorite female wrestlers in WWE. And I was like, Dave, you need to call when Darryl's on the show.
Who were they?
There was one named Paige, and I looked her up. She's pretty foxy.
Yeah, she's like a goth British chick.
Yeah, he doesn't like the goth thing, I guess.
Okay.
Which I'm not particularly into it, but she's still pretty foxy.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. But yeah, he didn't like her.
Too bad she's going to have to retire, basically.
Is this because of the sex tape?
No, because of getting bonked in the head too many times, plus she's had back problems.
Yeah, no good.
She's 25 and being told that you can't do this anymore.
That's hard.
Yeah, this thing you've been doing since you were 14. You can't do anymore.
All right, there's more coming up here in moments. 855 450 free like freedom. That's 855 450 3733. You can bring up whatever's on your mind. You got any thoughts on secession? It's Free Talk Live.
From the second letter of Captain Mark. Any pirate knows that commerce is communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single price. Innovations in communication are circumventing the scrutiny of the crown. This signals a change in the coin of the realm. The Crown uses digital currency to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy wealth at will, so pirate currency must protect us from this weaponized money. We need to move funds further, faster, cheaper, and without third-party observation, basing decisions on an accelerating flow of information, so pirates require nearly instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the crown. A superior currency will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the crown itself. Trade above the grid. Join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. I'm here to tell you about GCNtelecare.com, a team of board-certified doctors assisting you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Within 15 minutes of registration, care your family can afford. Revolutionizing the healthcare industry, virtual consulting providing diagnosis of non-emergency medical issues by phone or secure video on computer or smart mobile devices. GCNtelecare.com. Virtual care anywhere.
The answer to being in control of your own healthcare is freedom from insurance. Become part of a group of self-pay patients that come together to share in each other's medical expenses. Individual share amounts begin at $107 a month and $347 for families. Choose from 3 health-sharing programs. Holistic treatments may be eligible for sharing. See guidelines. Discount programs available for dental, vision, and pharmacy. Go to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, Hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this hospital.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait on account. Now. Wait a minute.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me? Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us on the radio here to bring up whatever's on your mind. On Free Talk Live with your host, Ian.
And Darryl.
We've also got Skype where you can join us to talk about whatever you want. Skype username is LRN.FM. You can also call in the on-air call-in line room of our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. I got the Blink home security system installed here at the LRN studios, and it was super easy to do. I mean, it really couldn't get less complicated. All you have to do is get the system over at blinkprotect.com/FTL. That's /FTL like Free Talk Live. You get 3 Blink cams for what some of the other guys might charge you for 1 wired camera. And that's right, these cameras are wireless, which is why it's so easy to install. You just unbox them, put the batteries in, which are included, and then place the cameras where you want them. You then plug in the hub and get that all set up with your Wi-Fi enabled device like a tablet or a smartphone. Super easy to do. And then once you're all set, it'll send you clips of what's happening in front of the camera at the times you specify to your device. So wherever you happen to be in the world, you get to see what's going on in your home. Or if you've got a small office, I think this would be fine for that too. blinkprotect.com/FTL like Free Talk Live. That's blinkprotect.com/FTL.
So we've been talking about the big bad federal government going after the awful government of California. Two terrible, oppressive states fighting one another now in court. The federal government bringing a lawsuit against the state of California. And basically the governor of California, as you read a quote just a few moments ago, said this is a declaration of war against the state of California.
I don't think he used the word declaration, but
he did say war, right? This is war. And, I mean, that's not to say that troops are going to roll across the borders necessarily, but they are fighting, and that means that those resources that they're using to fight one another aren't being used to fight average people within the state. So from that aspect, it's a good thing. And ultimately, while I would like to see California succeed in its particular, this venue, I want to see them defeat the federal government.
Yes.
Not because I support California on its own. I don't support a state in general. I'm against the idea of states. But given the choice between one giant megastate known as the United States and a less megastate known as the state of California, which on its own would be a fairly formidable state government.
Right. And while pulling up, looking for any news on California secession, there's proposals for the more conservative parts of California to leave the coastal parts of California.
That's right. We had one of those guys actually call the show to talk about their movement. It's different from the Jefferson movement, which is the state of Jefferson. They had a schism. They had a fork. And so now there's a different movement. I think it's like California Republic, or I forget what they're calling the other group. But there's a few different actually secession initiatives there within the state of California. There's the kind of the lefty one, which is the big one. That's the one that's the most popular.
That's the one to get California to secede from the United States.
Correct.
And then the one being backed by the conservatives is to get parts of California to secede from California and become a new state within the United States.
Which is really lame, but, hey, more power to them. If that's what they want to do, it'll still be some level of secession. And so, I tend to support all levels of secession, whether it's a state seceding in two and then that other state joining the U.S. I think that's a mistake, but, they feel like they need to. Or the state leaving entirely and becoming its own nation. The more decentralization we can have, the better. So given the choice between a mega state known as the United States and a less mega state, I will side with California, and I hope that they have some success. In fact, you've even got Sessions taking to the podium and saying specifically that there is no secession. He says federal law is the supreme law of the land, and he would invite any doubters to go to Gettysburg to visit the tombstones of John C. Calhoun and Abraham Lincoln. This matter has been settled.
See, we killed people a long time ago, and so therefore we're going to say that the reason we killed people is the same reason we'll kill people again.
That's their only answer.
I've got the...
You don't have any good reasons to stay in the United States. We're not going to tantalize you or give you a good deal or, give you any kind of actual reason to want to stay. We're just going to go ahead and threaten you with violence. We're going to bring you to your grave if you continue to pursue the path of secession, fill in the blank, state.
Yes.
And this is what it's unfortunately going to... I don't want it to come down to violence, and I hope that it ultimately wouldn't. I hope that this is sort of like a paper tiger tough talk kind of thing.
Right.
Where, the puffer fish is puffing up, they're looking really big, but, of course, we've seen that when it comes to violence, a bunch of ragtag groups of insurgents in Afghanistan have done a pretty good job of holding off the world's largest and most well-funded and most oppressive, violent military.
Afghanistan is called the graveyard of empires for a reason.
Right.
I've pulled up the full prepared statement from Jeff Sessions.
Is this his speech to the cops?
Yes.
Okay.
Not going to read the entire thing because it's very long, but there are a couple of things that jumped out at me where he says, in 2014 and 2015, violent crime stopped falling and jumped 7% nationwide. Homicides surged 20%, the largest increase since 1968. And drug availability rose dramatically. Sorry.
That sounds like something he might say, though.
Yeah. Lethal purity reached unprecedented levels while prices fell, and along with the new killer drug fentanyl, overdose deaths reached new levels that they'd never seen before. 66,000 deaths last year.
We're just going to keep arresting people, and that'll solve that problem.
That's why on my first day in office, President Donald Trump sent me 3 executive orders.
Now, he is from Alabama.
Yes.
Okay.
To back the women and men in blue, to reduce crime in America, and to dismantle transnational gangs. We at the Department of Justice embrace these goals. I know you do too.
Again, he's talking to a room full of police officers.
Yes.
Yeah. Is there more?
Oh, there's a lot
more you wanted to share.
And then there's the quote about the nullification, a refusal to apprehend and deport those, especially the criminal element, effectively rejects all immigration laws and creates an open border system. Open borders is a radical, irrational idea that cannot be accepted.
In fact, he had something to say about Mayor Libby Schaaf, who, as we mentioned earlier, is the Oakland mayor. She has made public statements about protecting immigrants from the federal government. Here's what he had to say to her.
But before you get to what he said to her, he's kind of speaking to us.
Oh?
Here.
In New Hampshire?
Us, as
Free
in
Talk Live?
the host.
Really?
Here. He says, the United States of America is not an idea.
Oh?
It's a secular nation state with a constitution, laws, and borders, all of which are designed to protect our nation's interest. Surely we should be able to agree on this much.
No, sir.
Everything you said is an idea.
Yes.
Yeah, the Constitution, it's a physical written document
some ideas.
Of someone's ideas.
Yep.
Laws, someone's ideas.
Those are opinions backed by a gun.
Borders.
Another idea about a line in the sand.
Ideas that are kind of agreed to at times, but which can change.
Oh, yeah.
How many times have the borders of the United States of America changed?
Multiple times.
I would say countless.
Countless? Okay. All right.
Because there are always tweaks of, the Rio Grande River moved. We now have to re-survey where the border is with Mexico.
I see.
We have to survey this. We have to survey that. There's disputes about who owns this island in somewhere that's got some bat poop on it.
That was a thing, huh?
Oh, that's actually still a thing. The Guano Act. Anywhere that bats poop, the United States government can claim because our Congress passed the bat poop bill.
And that is what guano means, by the way, for people who didn't know.
And there are a bunch of disputes over who owns certain islands where the U.S. government says, we own this because bat poop.
Guano.
And then somebody else says, no, we own it because it's closer to where we live and we actually go there occasionally.
Here's my message to Mayor Schaal. How dare you? He said on Wednesday, how dare you needlessly endanger the lives of our law enforcement officers to promote a radical open borders agenda. Again,
open borders, you mean like before the Chinese Exclusion Act was passed in 1882 to where anybody could just, show up and live here.
And the fact is a lot of them went to California and made a much better life for themselves.
Right.
Get away from communism.
Right. Open borders as in even after Ellis Island was opened, originally all you had to do was show up and get your Starbucks name.
Yeah.
And then you're cool. But then, we need to actually know more, and we've got to test and give people IQ tests and this and that and the other thing, and we've got to ban the Italians, ban the Irish.
Now the Mexicans.
Yeah.
And who's next?
It's always some other that we're supposed to be afraid of.
Well, yeah, because government rules based on fear. It's I don't like graffiti, but there's one of my favorites in town here in Keene is their power lies in your fear. Somebody wrote that on a building somewhere. And I think it's true. 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You can bring up what you want. We got way more to get to coming up in hour number 3, but also plenty of time for you with your thoughts at 855-450 free on Free Talk Live.
Do you have difficulty taking supplements? Are you searching for a high-quality, complete nutritional drink that your whole family will love? NutriMedical's Life Support has arrived. All of your daily nutritional requirements in one quick, delicious drink. Dr. Bill Deagle's Life Support is a proprietary blend of vegan protein, activated vitamins, essential minerals, amino acids, probiotics, green tea, digestive enzymes, anti-inflammatories, cancer prevention, detoxification, and much more. Your body will high-five you for this one. Life Support is the best complete nutritious delicious meal replacement on the market. Whether you are an elite athlete, have post-operative challenges, chronic illness, elderly, or a family that just wants a quick, delicious drink, try Dr. Bill Deagle's Life Support for optimized nutrition in one great tasting smoothie. Just add cold water, almond milk, fruit, or anything else you like. NutriMedical's Life Support. Try our great tasting chocolate or vanilla today. Call 888-212-8871 or visit us online at NutriMedical.com. NutriMedical.com for the whole family.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, March 7th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.63 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,330 per ounce. Zen Cash is trading at $33, and the average price of Bitcoin is $10,639. Antiwar.com reports it's been a little over 2 weeks since the Syrian army launched its most recent offensive against rebel-held eastern Ghouta, a suburb of Damascus. The push has included intense air and artillery strikes and a costly civilian death toll. According to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, some 800 civilians, including at least 177 children. A lot more civilians have been killed in this fight than combatants by all accounts, though no reliable figures exist on how many combatants were slain on either side. Roughly a third of rebel-held eastern Ghouta has fallen over that period, leading civilians to flee deeper into the area. Russia is suggesting they flee the other way, however, offering everyone, including rebels, safe passage out of Ghouta. Syria and their allies are eager to get the rebels out of eastern Ghouta because it's the last substantial rebel-held territory this close to the capital city. Eastern Ghouta has been used for artillery strikes against Damascus and at times outright infiltration into the capital. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports in the first weeks after President Donald Trump's latest travel ban was implemented on December 8th, around 100 waivers were granted to thousands of applicants for U.S. visas from 8 countries subject to its restrictions, according to State Department data provided to Reuters. Between December 8th and January 8th, more than 8,400 people applied for U.S. visas from Chad, Iran, Libya, North Korea, Syria, Somalia, Yemen, and Venezuela, the countries listed on the ban. Of those, 128 applicants qualified for visas because they fell into categories exempted from the ban, according to a letter from the State Department sent last month to U.S. Senator Chris Van Hollen. Exemptions to the ban are made for lawful permanent residents of the United States and certain other categories of applicants. The ban contains the provision that those who do not qualify for exemptions can be considered for waivers in special circumstances, such as a need for urgent medical care or to accommodate adoptions. Waivers can also be granted to those previously granted visas who want to return to employment or study in the United States. States. Significant business obligations or close U.S. family ties can also be taken into consideration for a waiver. As of February 15th, only 2 of the initial month's applicants had been approved for the waivers, according to the letter, which was seen by Reuters. Since then, more than 100 additional waivers have been granted, according to the State Department on Tuesday. It was not clear how many of those additional waivers went to applicants from the initial month. The White House did not immediately respond to a request for comment about the issue. A State Department official said the policy is being implemented as called for in the president's proclamation. Van Hollen, a Democrat, along with Republican Senator Jeff Flake, requested the information about visas from the State Department in late January, saying in a letter to the agency and the Department of Homeland Security that they had received reports of the near-uniform denial of waivers for visas. Van Hollen said in a statement to Reuters, the Trump administration claims that the waiver system can be used by people who pose no threat to the country, but these facts show that system is a farce designed to hide the president's true purpose. 6 of the 8 countries included in the ban are majority Muslim. Courts have struck down the first 2 versions of the Republican president's travel ban, and the current one is narrower in scope than its predecessors. The Supreme Court will consider its legality this spring, and a decision is expected by June. Many visa applicants from the 8 countries were denied even before the travel ban, and since it took effect, more than 1,700 of the 8,400 visa applicants were denied for reasons other than the travel ban, according to the State Department's data. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap and Amazon, at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish a TV show where I travel across this great nation eating pork in every one of our 50 states. Join me on my cross-country odyssey as I make our forefathers proud, reveling in life, liberty, and the pursuit of pork.
You can really taste the cooked pork. This stuff is fantastic. I'm a big salt fan.
Let's pork! We're tasting prime pork dishes in every state in the Union, and I couldn't be more excited for this once-in-a-lifetime tour. You're going to be right here with me, seeing everything I do and watching every pork I taste. I'm Jim Haggerty. You know me as the host of Today Now, but I've also eaten in a ton of restaurants. Now I'm heading out on the road. My mission? Find the best pork our country has to offer.
Watch Jim Haggerty's Porkin' Across America at youtube.com/The Onion.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the 3rd hour of the program with plenty of time for you to join us here and take control of the airwaves. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Here in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Darryl.
So, of course, you can talk about anything you want. We did get into the conflict that is brewing between and continues to perhaps escalate between the federal government and the state of California, of course, hoping to see California have even more reasons to secede from the United States, and hopefully they'll be able to do that successfully, even though Sessions, the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, specifically said, hey, if you've got the idea of secession, then just go right ahead and look at the grave of the graves at Gettysburg. And
he also said there's no such thing as nullification.
That's what he said.
In the same statement of there's no secession.
Even though there have been plenty of states that have successfully nullified the federal government.
Correct.
Right, so again, tough talk versus reality. What would the reality be if a state government, if the people of a state actually voted and said, we've had enough, a majority or even a supermajority of the people of this state have said, we're done, say bye-bye, dissolve the bans, dissolve the ties that bind us to the federal government. We will just go back to our state constitution and no longer have allegiance to the federal government. See ya. Then what would they do? Because then it would be, time to end the tough talk if they were going to actually do something. And then what? Well, they've got all their troops everywhere else in the world, right? Like, there's probably some within the United States, but certainly not a bulk of the force of the United States government, right?
Right, but let's just say California secedes. All right, so you activate all of the National Guards from the other 49 states, and then you have them roll in. You activate what troops you have that are still stationed in the U.S., you send them in. And that's still going to be more than whatever the number of National Guard and militia and whatever in California. And then there's the question of the numerous Navy bases and other military bases in California.
Yep.
Are those people going to wind up fighting for who?
And how many of the people within the U.S. military would fight against their own brothers and sisters? I mean, obviously it happened before in the past. I'm not saying they all wouldn't, but it would be interesting to see. We do occasionally, when the military goes over and fights in other countries, we do see some AWOL. We do see some, people saying, hey, I don't want to do this. I didn't sign up to kill innocent people. So they actually have the gumption to face potential jail for, not going and following orders. Right. Would that happen more often if people knew that they were going to be going and invading the town where their grandparents live, or invading the town where, they were born?
That's why you send the people from Massachusetts and Maine into California.
There are still people in Massachusetts and Maine who have family members in California. There are still people in California who have family members from other states.
Right, but it's going to be a smaller percentage than people that, are currently living in California.
I understand that. I'm just saying, would there be more of those defections? Would we see more American troops saying no?
I would like to think so, but I wouldn't get my hopes up.
Certainly not. Let's go to another guy who knows a thing or two about secession. He's Dave Ridley from RidleyReport.com. You're on Free Talk Live on Skype.
Yeah. Well, speaking of secession, I guess, Caleb Dyer has a little bit to do with that. I guess he was, looking at submitting a bill in the New Hampshire State House that would make New Hampshire independent. But he's a state rep who is a libertarian.
This was the first libertarian state rep in 2 decades here in New Hampshire. He flipped from the Republican Party, I guess it was about a year ago, right? I think it was February.
A little over a year ago.
Yeah, just over a year ago. Made history by flipping from Republican to Libertarian, and then following him, Democrat flipped from Democrat to Libertarian, and then another Republican flip. So we actually have 3 Libertarian state reps here, actual seated state reps. But you're saying he was proposing a secession bill? Did I hear that he couldn't get any co-sponsors on that?
He was planning one. I don't think he submitted it.
It never got submitted. He was trying to work out the language and getting input from lawyers.
Does that mean it might still be coming, or it's pretty much dead in the water?
Well, I was calling about
if he gets reelected, he could file something this fall.
Now, isn't it true that, so in New Hampshire, the state reps have 2-year terms, so does the governor's 2-year terms, so this year is the election year, but isn't it true that state reps get to file things whether or not they get reelected? It's just that if they don't get reelected, it doesn't move ahead unless it has other sponsors who do get reelected?
Right, so there are 2 periods for filing legislation in the election year. There's a brief period before the election, and then there's a brief period after the election. And then in the off year, there's only 1 period to file.
Right.
And, it's just like if he were to file and then something happened and he weren't able to actually wind up taking office, because there are some really old state reps who have died between winning the election and getting sworn in. So those bills would just be up for grabs to where if nobody signs on as the sponsor, it would die. And then there's also a time period to where, let's just say, because the process is they go to the Office of Legislative Services and say, I would like to file a bill that does X. Because most of the time, the state reps don't actually have exact language that they want. They tell some bureaucrat, I want to do X. And then the bureaucrat comes up with language, is this what you want? And then it's up to them to either say yes or no. And if they never get the language sorted out with OLS, they can then withdraw the proposal completely.
So what was, Dave, the sort of the thrust of this proposal? Would it have put forward a ballot measure? Was this a constitutional resolution? What would it have been?
It never went past the thinking about stage.
Oh.
It never got filed.
This wasn't even what I was calling in about.
Okay, well, you brought it up, so I mean, now you made me curious to know more about it.
I was calling about something else that Caleb has done. But in answer to your question, what he said it was sort of like a package of legislation. It was like a lot of changes to a lot of existing laws. It would have been difficult to explain to people or to read or anything like that. It's a lot of struck throughs and a lot of italics, and so that's what it sounded like to me, what he was looking into. But again, he never submitted it.
Gotcha. Okay, so what were you calling about then?
He gave his first speech to the State House, the entire State House, I think, this week.
Okay, that's cool. What was it about?
It was about this fight over whether to further restrict voting rights. Does that make sense?
There has been a big conflict within New Hampshire over some of the Republicans. A lot of them want to restrict voting. They want to make it harder to register. They want to make it harder to go in and actually vote. They don't want people to be able to not show identification to vote, which is something you can do here in New Hampshire. You just have to be able to swear on an affidavit that you are who you say you are.
And then have a photo taken because they've made that more difficult.
Correct. So he was, I imagine he was speaking in favor of voting freedom?
Yeah, he was against some of these proposed changes. And, it's usually a safer position to be against changes in the law than it is to be in favor of changes in the law, from a libertarian perspective. But I don't know exactly which parts he was upset about. And, this is sort of a liberty neutral issue to some extent, in the sense that there's this sense that the college people come in and they vote, in favor of big government, and then they leave.
There's not really much evidence that college students vote, in my opinion.
Right. And the bill in question would have done more. It would have completely changed or attempted to change the definition of resident. And the State House passed the same exact language last year. That language was modified in the Senate, and the House wasn't happy that the Senate modified the language, so there's questions of whether the Senate will even wind up hearing this bill, because the Senate has a rule that says you can't hear the same language 2 years in a row if it's during the same biennial.
Well, we'll see how it all pans out. Dave from Ridley Report, thanks as always for the call tonight. I appreciate it. That's Dave Ridley at RidleyReport.com. We'll continue with your calls and thoughts. Certainly welcome. Our number here is 855-450. Free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You can join us here on the radio. This is Free Talk Live. We got some interesting stuff coming up in moments just for you.
Ike was such a sweet, lovable animal, and people would want to pet him, and they'd come up and they'd get close to him, and it would be this instant, oh! My dad didn't want to touch him. It's like, ooh, get the stinky dog away from me.
Even after we'd give her a bath, she would still stink.
Very stinky, both bad breath and bad gas. I asked the vet, and he said some dogs are just stinky.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa. The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
The ingredients convinced me that it was definitely worth trying. After about a week, he started smelling normal. My husband and I were really kind of astonished.
Dinovite is nutrition.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. 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 What's What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything that you want right here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Darryl, you are going to be running in the New York Marathon.
Yes.
Which is like one of the top-tier marathons out there, right?
Yes.
This is exclusive. You got to pay money.
One of the biggest, one of the most popular in the world.
And you've never done it before.
I've never done the New York City Marathon before.
You've done marathons before.
Yes. Yes, I have. And there are a couple of different ways to qualify for the New York City Marathon. So you can be an elite athlete, which
like
I am not.
Like an Olympian or something.
Something like that. You know,
you got a
like
name.
That caliber athlete, to where you are really fast and you qualify on time.
Okay.
Meaning that you have run previous marathons at certain speeds.
Okay.
You can also qualify. They have a lottery, to where it's not like a regular lottery. They used to do it that way, but they recently changed it to where there's no upfront cost. But then if you wind up getting selected, and this year I think they selected 7% of the number of people that applied because there was just that many people that applied. So they have a set number of, here are people that, you know, will draw names out of a hat sort of thing.
Okay.
They get in. I did not qualify that way either. But
you tried, but you didn't?
I tried, but I was not successful. Again, they only picked like 7% of the people that submitted that way. But I am going to be one of about 9,000 charity runners.
Okay.
To where there are a bunch of different charities that qualify for spots, meaning that they meet certain criteria and they have a certain number of people that can run on their team. And so when I was looking at the list of charities, there was really only one charity that jumped out at me of, I am passionate about what they do. I want to be on this team. And that's the Innocence Project.
Which is?
The Innocence Project has been around since 1992. They help people that are wrongly convicted. They wind up primarily getting cases reopened through, here's new evidence, here's DNA evidence that shows that our client could not have done this crime.
Right.
And a lot of the people that they have gotten released have spent decades, 15, 20, 25, 30 plus years in prison.
We just recently talked about a story with a guy in Kansas who was there for more than 2 decades.
Yes. A couple of their clients had spent well over 30 years on death row. And, I believe that our criminal justice system needs to be completely overhauled. Mm-hmm. And they're working how they can
within the system
to get people released that should not have ever been locked up in the first place.
So you have to raise money for the Innocence Project.
Yes, I have to raise a minimum of $3,500.
Okay.
And you can go to run.freetalklive.com, donate through the secure CrowdRise website. And I'm hoping to, within the next week or so, announce some matching funds. There's still a little bit that I'm working on, but don't wait to donate, because the sooner I wind up meeting the goal, the sooner I don't have to worry about fundraising.
No doubt. So go over to run.freetalklive.com and you can donate to Darryl there and the Innocence Project for the New York Marathon. Let's go to Keene, New Hampshire, where David is on the line listening to LRN.FM. Hello, David.
Hi.
Hello.
I was going to go back to a little bit of what the previous caller said regarding New Hampshire and secession stuff.
Yeah.
And I had a bill taken off the consent calendar, which I don't know if people know what the consent calendar is, but they lump a bunch of bills together and they all vote to decide whether to accept the recommendations or not accept it.
Now, you said you had a bill taken off. Does that mean you wrote a bill that another state representative introduced?
No, I was reading over the bills that were on the consent calendar, and one of them was inexpedient to legislate. And in the blurb about why it's inexpedient to legislate, which means they are not they don't want to pass it.
Right, they want to kill the bill.
Yeah, the committee recommendation.
Right. In the bottom, this is H.R. 20. In the bottom, it says, one could interpret this bill as a prelude to secession, and therefore, without a clear and concise understanding, a majority opposes this bill.
What is the bill, though? I mean, I'm not familiar with it.
It's H.R. 20.
Yeah,
it's a House resolution. The title is Affirming States' Powers Based on the Constitution for the United States and the Constitution of New Hampshire.
Oh, I think I was there when they heard that particular bill earlier this year. I think that was Dan Itza, who is behind that one, who we've had on this show in the past. And again, it's just a House resolution. It's effectively meaningless.
And it's very, very wordy.
Yeah. Yeah, it
is.
Even if
a bunch of whereas and therefores and wherefores.
Yeah, it's sort of like, federal government, you've done all these bad things, and here's what we have to say about it, if I'm recalling correctly.
Right.
And, that was to some extent the Declaration of Independence, right, where they said, you, King George, have been bad, and here's the ways that we think you're bad, and here's what we're going to do about it. But this is just a resolution. It's basically a non-binding thing. Even if they were to vote for it, it wouldn't mean that we would be seceding from the U.S. But I guess the House committee saw it as a prelude was the word that they used? A prelude to secession?
To secession, yeah.
Good. Good.
Well, we'll see what happens, and at least it shows that you can affect things up here.
So you certainly can. And so you said they took it off the consent calendar, which means it's going to go to a full House vote? is the idea?
Yeah, and they're going to do a voice vote, and they're going to do a vote where you can look up your representative and see how he voted on it.
That's assuming that there are a sufficient number of people that say that they wish to have a roll call.
What do they need, 10?
I think it's 20.
Oof. All right, well, we'll see. David, thanks for bringing that up tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. Look, the more that we can get secessionists, people who love liberty, because some secessionists don't love liberty, like the people who want to secede California. They just want a socialist state. But liberty-loving secessionists, to get up here to New Hampshire, to get active, get more of them running for political office, get more state representatives who support secession, and then keep the conversation going. Get on to New Hampshire media, get on to New Hampshire talk shows, onto television shows in New Hampshire, into the medias, into the newspaper letters to the editor section, getting people to talk about this idea. Because there are certainly plenty of people who might be warmed up to secession now, who might not have been as warm towards it, say, 4 years ago. Right. Maybe Trump has made them a little bit less likely to support the U.S. federal government. So, there's never a bad time, in my opinion, to talk about this issue. There's never a bad time to get a conversation started in the community about this. And, of course, the more libertarians we have living in New Hampshire, the more that support secession, the closer we get to actually having bills like this become successful, and then ultimately maybe a constitutional resolution that the people of New Hampshire could then vote on. This would seem to be the way to do it to me. Right. Is to put it to a vote, let the people say their piece on the matter. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE if you want to join us on the radio here on Free Talk Live.
Tired of being censored by Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Patreon? Well, now you don't have to be. OneWay.com is the free speech and human-friendly social network built just for you. Stop feeding the beast. Every post you make on those evil, anti-human, anti-American perverted sites helps them destroy our families, our country, and our souls. Join One Way today and take back your liberty. Your free speech alternative is waiting for you at OneWay.com. OneWay.com. This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free and bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Skype username LRN.FM. Also, you can join us on the Discord chat. We've got a call-in line room just for you there. It's the on-air call-in line. It's the first room on the list of them. So go to discord.lrn.fm if you want to get interactive with us. And the us tonight includes me, Ian.
And Darryl.
And don't forget, once again, go to freetalklive.com. You'll find lots of features there going back for years with archives, audio archives that go all the way back for actually 12 years, I think, at this point. So go and check it all out for free at freetalklive.com. Now, Darryl, you had some interesting news to change gears here into bankruptcy. Not necessarily just bankruptcy.
Not bankruptcy.
But student loans, I guess, specifically, because those are the one of the few things you can't avoid getting rid of with bankruptcy.
Correct.
And they are coming up with other creative ways to punish the people who have outstanding student loans.
Yes, they are. The article from the New York Times says if you fall behind on your student loans, you could lose your job. Few people realize that loans they take out to pay for their education could eventually derail their careers. But in 19 states, government agencies can seize state-issued federal professional licenses for residents who default on their educational debts. Another state, South Dakota, will suspend a driver's license, making it nearly impossible for someone to actually then work. As debt levels rise, creditors are taking increasingly tough actions to chase people down who fall behind on student loans. Going after professional licenses stands out as especially punitive. Firefighters, nurses, teachers, lawyers, massage therapists, barbers, psychologists, and real estate brokers have all had their credentials suspended or revoked.
This is stupid. If you actually want somebody to pay on a debt that they owe, you don't cripple them and then tell them you got to keep paying.
Yes.
I mean, look, I understand it sucks to loan people money and have them not make a payment. That's sort of part and parcel of loaning somebody something is there's a chance that that person is going to be a complete deadbeat. Of course, there's always excuses, right? Like, oh, I ended up in the hospital or somebody got sick or whatever. But even if they're not making, they're not making any payment whatsoever. If they were making $20 a month, it would still be something. But for somebody to make $0 payments over time is pretty insulting. So I can understand why people get upset about it. But crippling somebody's ability to make money by taking away a government license seems really counter, indicative.
Right. And, to sort of go off a little bit, off from the story, default in this case just means that you weren't able to make the minimum monthly payment for a certain number of months.
Okay. So you could have been paying.
You could have been paying something.
Wow.
But maybe your minimum monthly payment is $200 and I can only send you $100 after a certain number of months.
Maybe you got fired.
Right.
Now you can't get rehired in the same career because you lost your license. In several states, was it?
19 states, and I'll go over real quick. Washington, California, Alaska, Hawaii, New Mexico, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, South Dakota, North Dakota, and Massachusetts.
All right, so New Hampshire not on the list.
Correct. The article here continues, determining the number of people who have lost their licenses is impossible because many state agencies and licensing boards don't track the information. Public records requests by the New York Times, however, identified at least 8,700 cases in which licenses were taken away or put at risk of suspension in recent years, although the tally almost certainly underestimates the actual number. Shannon Otto, who lives in Nashville, can pinpoint the moment that she realized she wanted to be a nurse. She was 16, shadowing her aunt, who worked in an ER. She gaped as a doctor used a hand crank to drill a hole in a patient's skull. She wanted to be part of the action. It took years of school and thousands of dollars of loans, but eventually she landed her dream job in Tennessee, a state facing a shortage of nurses. Then, after working for more than a decade, she started having epileptic seizures. They arrived without warning in terrifying gusts. She couldn't care for herself, let alone anyone else. Unable to work, she defaulted on her student loans. She eventually got her seizures under control and prepared to go back to work and resume payments.
Surprise!
Yep, surprise indeed. She found out that the Tennessee Board of Nursing had suspended her license.
Wow.
To get the license back, she would have to pay more than $1,500 that she did not have because she had not been at work. She said, I absolutely loved my job, and it seems unbelievable, but I can't do it anymore.
Well, if she coughs up some of the money, they'll give it back to her, apparently. I'm sure
money that she doesn't currently have.
Right, because people, again, medical bills are a real problem for folks, and it will put people behind the ball. $1,500 isn't impossible to raise. I mean, she could certainly, with the publicity that she has around this news story, she could put up a GoFundMe and probably raise the money to do it.
I've not necessarily been in this exact situation, but when you have a decade of experience as a nurse and you go, hey, McDonald's, I really need a job. Yeah, you're overqualified.
Right,
We're not going to hire you. She can't go get an entry-level job because they're afraid as soon as she makes some money, she's going to leave, which is what she would probably do.
Yeah.
The article continues saying, with student debt levels soaring, student loans are now the largest source of household debt outside of mortgages. Defaults are also rising. Lenders have always pursued delinquent borrowers by filing lawsuits, garnishing wages, putting liens on property, and seizing tax returns. Blocking licenses is a more aggressive weapon, and states are using it on behalf of themselves and the federal government. And remember...
On behalf of the creditors, right?
The loans are federally guaranteed.
Most of them are, I imagine, yeah.
No. Not most. All of them.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that was something that changed in like the last decade. So you can go to a bank, and the bank is the intermediary between you and the federal government.
Okay.
Yeah, that changed within the last decade.
Wow.
Proponents of the little-known state licensing laws say they are in taxpayers' interest. Many student loans are backed by guarantees. This says many, but I know for a fact that I read something that there was a federal law within the
The journalist could be wrong.
Well, it could also be that some people that took out loans more than a decade ago are still paying on them, and they didn't wind up being, then federally backed because they were grandfathered, whatever. But it says, that they are backed by either the federal government or the state government. Faced with losing their licenses, the reasoning goes, debtors will find the money.
They'll cough it up.
But critics from both parties say the laws shove some borrowers off a financial cliff.
Sure.
Tennessee is one of the most aggressive states at revoking licenses. According to records, from 2012 to 2017, officials reported more than 5,400 people to professional licensing agencies. Many lost their licenses, but nobody knows how many, and some lost their careers completely. Peter Abernathy, Chief Aid and Compliance Officer for the Tennessee Student Assistance Corporation, which is a state-run commission that's responsible for enforcing the law, says it's an attention getter. They made a promise to the federal government that they would repay these funds. This is the last resort to get them back into payment. Right. The people like Miss Otto who wound up having medical problems and not able to work, and they're therefore not able to pay her loan. It'll get her attention if we make it to where she can't work anymore.
You got her attention. That's true. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Your thoughts certainly welcome on this. I mean, I oppose it. I think that it's just like taking a license away from people in courts. We got more coming up, though. Your calls and thoughts welcome. This is Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Dynovite is nutrition.
Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops. Get the 3rd bottle free.
New improved Lico Chops with omega-3, omega-6, vitamin E.
And now, 6 extra direct-fed microbials.
Even better for the digestive tract and immune system.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
Non-attorney paid spokesperson. Could your house go into foreclosure? Are you behind on your mortgage payments? Does it seem like the bank has no interest in helping you save your home, and you feel like you have nowhere to turn for help? Then we have good news for you. Foreclosure Protection Services can help save your home as they specialize in foreclosure assistance. That's all they do. If you're behind on your mortgage payments, being threatened with foreclosure, have been denied a loan modification, or been the victim of a predatory loan, it's critical that you call Foreclosure Protection Services now at 800-667-9035. Their network of attorneys and their agents are available to speak to you now. If you're behind on your mortgage payments, Foreclosure Protection Services can help stop the foreclosure process. Call today before it's too late. New laws are in effect that may save your home. Call Foreclosure Protection Services now at 800-667-9035. 800-667-9035. That's 800-667-9035.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. You may dial toll-free here to bring up whatever's on your mind in the remaining moments. We've got enough time for you if you call now. Disturbing story about people with student loans. If you have, as they call it, defaulted on a student loan, then some states, 19 of them as a matter of fact, may go ahead and revoke any kind of professional state licensing that you have. So they give an example of a nurse who fell on tough times with her health. She got through it, but after the fact was pretty much tapped out on her money, so she lost her, or she defaulted on the loan, which meant that the state of, I think it was Tennessee, then
Tennessee said, you got $1,500, you can get your license back.
They pulled her license, which means she can't go back to nursing, which is the way, the reason she got the loans in the first place, so she could become a nurse and fulfill her dreams.
Right.
And now her dreams have literally been pulled out from underneath her because she had seizures and had a tough time health-wise. And It's tragic, and that's just one example of somebody's life being, really harmed seriously by the state and this semi-monopoly loan system. I guess you did a little digging.
Yeah, I did some digging, and on the Federal Student Aid website, they do list a summary of differences between federal student loans and private student loans. So federal meaning they're backed by the federal government, and private meaning they're not. In order to qualify for a private student loan, the student may be required to have an established credit report or credit record, and they may need a cosigner, whereas with the federal backed, no,
just give me the money.
Go ahead and here's the money. So it's not impossible, but it's very unlikely that you will be able to get a private student loan.
I wonder if the private loans are bankruptable, meaning that can they be wiped away in bankruptcy while the federal ones cannot?
Let's see here. It says the interest is not tax deductible on the private, but it is on the federal backed. Private student loans cannot be consolidated into a direct consolidation loan. I don't see where it specifically mentions bankruptcy. But if it can't be consolidated into a consolidation loan, then I don't think it would be able to be wiped off in bankruptcy.
We are not lawyers, certainly not bankruptcy lawyers. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. We got Sarah on the line. She's in New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Darryl.
Yes, I just want to explain that, we have so much diabetes epidemic out right now. The reason is because we're lacking the galactose molecule.
Did
Sarah,
you just come home from one of your MLM meetings?
Well, that's what kind of, I just listened to one of the CDs. It was just a video.
From the MLM company?
Well, I don't know. It's the good sugars from the Vine Ripened Fruit and Vegetable Company.
So,
right, yeah, you're talking about the same. You've called in numerous times about this multi-level marketing thing,
now,
and they've got some famous football player, but you don't know who he is, so he's not that famous apparently.
But Sarah, and we did talk in detail about multi-level marketing and sort of the ups and downs, and a lot of downs, but not necessarily a bad plot to market something if it's a good product, and there's details we could get into there, but. Sarah, so what you're saying is you're making medical claims here on the radio. Now, are you a doctor?
No, I am not a doctor.
Okay.
But
okay.
This is what they found out is that we're missing one of the 8 saccharides, and that's the cause of diabetes.
And the good news is, Darryl, they've got that in this new product from fill-in-the-blank company. If you just sign up and then recruit 3 people who recruit 3 people, you'll be a diamond distributor and you'll be set for life. You get free boats and cars from the company.
Well, listen, I'm not going to abuse your show. I'm not going to get free advertisement. Other people have to pay a lot of money to be on the show.
I appreciate that. I do appreciate that.
Well, I know that because I'm not. But
you got to be careful, Sarah. If you were licensed,
also with the multi-level marketing things, you sign agreements that you are not going to independently pay for advertising.
In a lot of them, that's true. I think there's different rules for different ones, but yeah, that's generally true. They're very, very controlling over who is allowed to advertise and what they're allowed to say.
Longevity will let you because there are a lot of radio show hosts that do the commercials for those.
But something that they'll always warn you about as a distributor within their organization is not to make medical claims. And if you do make medical claims, you put the company at risk. You put yourself at risk from liability. Now, I'm not saying that people shouldn't be free to make medical claims. I don't. I think that you should be able to get out there and make claims, but you should back those claims up with evidence, and that way people in the marketplace can analyze those claims and say whether or not they think they're true or false. But we've got the federal government that's going to put you in a prison cell,
The FDA is so overbearing on what constitutes a medical claim. If I say that water will cure dehydration, that is an unproven medical claim according to the FDA.
Or that oranges can cure scurvy.
Cure scurvy is an
Huh?
The FDA says that that's not an appropriate claim. I know you're trying to explain something, and so am I.
Yeah, I put you on hold because your phone's really noisy tonight. What do you want to say?
Look, I want to say was that 100 years ago, well, I was saying, enough all those technicalities, 100 years ago, plenty of us, we all grew our own food. We lived off the land.
You grew food 100 years ago?
She's
so
old.
Everybody homesteaded. We gardened. So therefore, we got this galactose, malactose, enough of it, so that we never had diabetes, cancer.
So the people that worked in the Ford factories building the first cars, the first Model Ts, they also were gardeners in addition to car builders?
Well, the thing is, most of the foods were vine ripened fruit and vegetable. That's the food that they used to get, okay? Because that's all they ever had. They never picked the fruit, like the tomatoes, like 10 days like green, and throw a smoke bomb and turn it pink right before they put it on the market. It's a hard pink thing. Yeah, I was told that they have this bomb that makes it hot and it makes it turn pink a day before they put it out. I don't know. It's kind of a
that's
smoke
an interesting
bomb. That's what I was
claim.
told.
Yeah, it's also an interesting claim to say that people only ever ate vine-ripened fruits and vegetables because it totally ignores the fact that there's this thing called winter. And there's this process called canning.
She lives in New Mexico. She doesn't know what a winter is.
So the thing about it is that we had enough of it from maple syrup, from corn off the husk at that time, so that we never had
syrup is not a fruit.
No, but it does come out of a tree.
Right, but it's not vine ripened.
Okay, and then I want to tell you that the Texas Superfood, that the football club is a different company altogether. That's not that network marketing. In fact, I think I heard his commercials on your station, on your show.
Oh, I don't know. We don't know what commercials air on Free Talk Live. So when we're on the radio, stations get to play the commercials they want to play, and we have no idea what they're playing. And our network also plays commercials that we don't necessarily know.
Right,
who
there are a handful of commercials that we know that are playing, and then other commercials we don't necessarily know what they are.
Yeah, I don't know of any kind of MLM company that's advertising currently with Free Talk Live. MLM, by the way, standing for multi-level marketing.
Texas Superfood was on your station when I was listening to that station. But that's a total different thing. But they emphasize vine ripened fruit and vegetables, okay? So
yeah, what does it matter whether the thing ripens on... I mean, I'm no expert. Please inform me. What does it matter whether it ripens on the vine or off the vine?
Okay, I'm explaining to you because of the galactose molecule, that very essential saccharide that we are all missing out of our diet.
But if you eat vine ripened vegetables, you get the galactose molecule. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. At the last minute, right before it drops, that's when all the phytonutrients and the galactose molecule enters the fruit and vegetables, and that's the molecule that we're missing, and that's the cause of diabetes.
So this and are you going to claim it's the cause of cancer too? What other claims are you going to make?
Right. Well, it's a cause of also autoimmune disease, where the killer cells attack healthy cells, MS, fibromyalgia, and even heart attacks are autoimmune diseases. And all these are strange.
So what's the solution? Is it to take some sort of multi-level marketing pill?
Well, you know what? That's what I am doing.
You are?
I've been taking 3 of it.
Yeah.
I have been taking 3 of it. I just buy it from my friend, And I think her granddaughter is going to finally sign up, and I think my mother is going to sign up. Like, she's going to get 3 to 4.
So that's your 3 people, and then each of them need 3 people.
You're on your way to a diamond distributor. Thanks for the call, Sarah. Wait a minute. We don't have time for your calls at this point. But yeah, by the way, Sarah, we don't think she's a licensed medical professional. I suspect that those claims may or may not be valid, and take them with a big grain of salt or with a galactose molecule.
Himalayan sea salt.
Sounds nice. Sounds expensive. We'll see you tomorrow night. Online in the meantime, you can join us over at freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, March 7th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.63 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,330 per ounce. Zen Cash is trading at $33, and the average price of Bitcoin is $10,639. Antiwar.com reports it's been a little over 2 weeks since the Syrian army launched its most recent offensive against rebel-held eastern Ghouta, a suburb of Damascus. The push has included intense air and artillery strikes and a costly civilian death toll. According to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, some 800 civilians, including at least 177 children. A lot more civilians have been killed in this fight than combatants by all accounts, though no reliable figures exist on how many combatants were slain on either side. Roughly a third of rebel-held eastern Ghouta has fallen over that period, leading civilians to flee deeper into the area. Russia is suggesting they flee the other way, however, offering everyone, including rebels, safe passage out of Ghouta. Syria and their allies are eager to get the rebels out of eastern Ghouta because it's the last substantial rebel-held territory this close to the capital